Mr. General Secretary, allow me to invite you to take us through the first priority point. Let's welcome you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Community leaders present today, we are here to unpack the N.U.P Manifesto, and I'm here to talk about our Manifesto Priority 1, which is about restoring constitutionalism, human rights, and the rule of law. First of all, what is the problem in Uganda? The problem in Uganda today is governance. Uganda does not have any other problem except governance. All problems that we have in Uganda today can be summarized in one word: the failure of governance. Uganda ranks 126th out of 142 countries on the rule of law index. So you can imagine Uganda beats just very, very few countries in the world in terms of respect for the rule of law and human rights. That is terrible. In Uganda, media rights are not respected. Journalists and media practitioners are regularly harassed. There are enforced disappearances in Uganda. Up to now, we are looking for 18 people who were abducted by the Museveni regime in the last election. Yesterday, the president delegated me to attend a briefing ceremony for one of the children of Damulira John, who had disappeared in 2020, and up to now, he has never surfaced. And as you know, our Kenyan brothers, two of them, were picked on the campaign trail on the 1st of October. Up to now, nobody knows where they are. Sam Mugumya, who was abducted from Marara, is still missing, and many other people. What is the other problem? Due process and legal environment. Many people can tell you in Uganda that if you're poor, you're not going to get justice in the courts of law. If you go to courts of law and you don't have money, you are sure that the person who has money is going to beat you at your case, no matter how good case you have. That is why people say, Omwavu, Kasi na Musango. Electoral integrity. But in Uganda today, many citizens out there will tell you everywhere we go, because there is no electoral integrity. People go and vote. You saw what happened in Kayunga, where the regime just took over and declared whatever they wanted. The other problem related to governance is, of course, corruption. The breakdown of constitutional order. In the 1995 Constitution, it provides that the Constitution would be durable. Unfortunately, every time the Constitution has stood in Mr. Museveni's path, he just kicks it down the road, uses the military, usurps Parliament, bribes Parliament, and takes over the functions and amends the Constitution illegally, and the Parliament, of course, and the judiciary have been weakened very, very strongly. And there is a deliberate attack on the civil society. You all recall that a few years ago, over 5,000 NGOs which were dealing with governance issues were closed down by the Museveni regime. I can go on and on and on talking about the problems, but before telling you what N.U.P is going to do, I wanted us to get to know the problem. Now, what is N.U.P promising? Number one, to restore term limits in our constitution. N.U.P will not only restore term limits, but it will entrench them. And any president who will attempt to remove term limits will be charged with treason. It will be a treasonable offense to try to remove the mandatory term limits from the Constitution of Uganda under the National Unity Platform. Number two, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision, N.U.P is going to remove that UPDF amendment which took civilians back to military courts. Civilians will not be tried in military courts whatsoever. Number three, like the president said on the train, the first action he will take once elected president of Uganda is to free all political prisoners. Now, you people who are watching us are the reason why those prisoners will be in prison after the election day. Because if you vote for N.U.P, all political prisoners, beginning with Dr. Chiza Besigye, Machete, Eddie Mutwe, Achilewo, Gaddafi, and the Karamajong, who have been taken to those prisons and are not being tried for no crime whatsoever, will be freed immediately. Meaning that a vote for N.U.P is a vote to free all political prisoners. The media who are here today under N.U.P, no security forces, no police officer will interfere with the work of journalists in the new Uganda. Journalists will be free to do their role without fearing what will happen when they go back home. Under N.U.P, the president will not appoint the Electoral Commission. The powers to appoint the Electoral Commission will be taken off from the president. First of all, we are going to bring about separation of powers. Parliament will be independent, the judiciary will be independent, and therefore there will be organs. There will be a committee, a separate committee dealing with this, and the final approval coming from Parliament. So, the powers to appoint the Electoral Commission, because we all know that that is one of the biggest problems you have today, where one of the candidates is the one who is appointing the Electoral Commission. That will not only go to the Electoral Commission, but also the appointment of judicial officers, including the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice and all other judicial officers. That power will move out from the President. As you all know right now in Uganda, all judges from the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Constitutional Court, and the High Court, all of them have been appointed by one man called General Museveni. That is why many of them feel emboldened to him. That is why many of them feel indebted to him to do what is against the Constitution and what is against the judicial oath. But we believe that if the President is not the one appointing judicial officers, then judicial officers are going to do their function independently and serve the citizens of Uganda. In the new Uganda, there will be no internet shutdowns. Facebook will be restored. You will not need to be on VPN to access Facebook. UCC will no longer have powers to switch on the internet when they feel like. That one will not happen in the new Uganda. The civil society, NGOs and others will be allowed to function. We are going to have merit-based appointments. In the new Uganda, it will not depend on where you come from, what is the size of your nose, how old you are, where you come from, you get a job. In the new Uganda, you will get a job based on merit. You will get a job across the board. So that is how we plan to restore constitutionalism and the rule of law. We are going to remove all oppressive laws from the law books that we have, and very, very finally, we are going to have lifestyle audits as part of our fight against corruption. We are serving the government. You must tell us where the money you're using is coming from, because we want to make sure that the money of the citizen is used to fight for the rights of the people and not for personal aggrandizement.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very clear plan about how we are going to manage the shrinking space that we enjoy as a country. I just want to let you know that it is possible to access this manifesto on the party official social media platforms, on the party website. Please look for it and be able to read some of the things that will not be captured in this short presentations. Having said that, allow me to welcome the leader of opposition, our party spokesperson, to present the second priority area, which is on ending corruption and gospel.
Kakati ekigenda maaso kutula mu manifesto yaffe kagenda okubeera Uganda bamaze okulonda pulezidenti waffe omulongi Robert Kyagulanyi kyekigenda maaso leero.
Manifesto priority area number 2 is ending corruption and wasteful government expenditure. One of the biggest boundaries we have in our country. Let me paint the picture for you quickly. Our national debt currently is 116 trillion shillings. That's how much you and I know. That means every Ugandan, including the baby that was born this morning, owes every single Ugandan, including those who have never seen that kind of money. That's how bad it is. Go and disperse loans, money that is borrowed, and it sits on accounts unutilized for a very long period, and yet we are supposed to pay interest on that. That's what today. We want to plan for our country efficaciously, and it's possible for us to be able to do that. As you know, some of the borrowed money is struggling. We have a debt rollover which we accumulate annually. That's money that we borrow and we are unable to pay. Domestic areas. There's something called domestic areas when government, ordinary people do business with government and government doesn't pay. That figure is 14 billion shillings. People who supply food to government, ministries, departments, and so on, who do construction work, ordinary Ugandan people, 14 trillion shillings. These people borrow money from the bank so that they can do this government job, and government doesn't pay. So businesses are crumbling, local businesses. Meanwhile, we have foreign investors who come here. They are guaranteed land, they are given free land, tax holidays, they are guaranteed money. Pibeti, I don't know whoever, local was given 200 plus billion shillings. A Czech sugar factory, 600 billion shillings, paid by a farmer. This guy is promised to put together COVID vaccine, 723 billion shillings. That nonsense is going to stop under our leadership. So let's be focused on the ordinary Ugandans. There's no reason why our roads cannot be built by physical engineers who graduate. Something that you should be able to do, but you bring foreigners here, they consume all the money, including the freebies that we give them. Look, we have got a lot of poor planning that happens, something that we want to eliminate. Every year, we have several schedules of supplementary, about 5 trillion shillings. Now, supplementary is supposed to be a revitalizing. About one of the visible Busoga and so on, and then government comes to Parliament and says, we did plan for this. Let's avail money. But here is the surprising thing. State House, Office of the President, which uses, by the way, over 2 billion shillings per day. Their annual budget is exhausted in the first quarter, in 3 months. That's the reality, always. In the first 3 months, their entire 12 months budget is exhausted. Then they come back to Parliament for supplementary budgets. That nonsense has got to stop. And we are going to stop it. We have extensively talked about corruption. We know that on an annual basis we lose 10 trillion shillings per year to theft. Those are hospitals, those are schools, those are roads that are stolen on an annual basis. Our government intends to make it risky for anyone to steal taxpayers' money. I know there are people who have said, and I know folks in the inspectorate of government, they say our challenge is our people are not morally upright. That's why there's a lot of stealing that happens. Man is inherently evil. Look, governments elsewhere, where there's not as much corruption, it's not because the people are morally upright and good. No, government has made it risky to steal. You steal taxpayers' money, will look you up. So let others speak a lesson and we cannot touch taxpayers' money. So we don't want to always talk and talk about corruption and like these folks. You will see action. Finally, we intend to eliminate taxes on essential items like scholastic materials and school data bundle. We were debating this issue sometime in Parliament, and there was a young lady, I know here she's going to run for woman MP. She's the current youth MP Uganda. Now here she wants to represent the people of the world as woman MP. She said, no, let's not reduce taxes on pampers, because when we reduce taxes on pampers, we shall be promoting homosexuality. I said, did this one even go to school? How do you reason that? Anyway, for us we want to practically do that, so that it is accessible by our ordinary people, by the poor people who must be able to bolster. Here is the catch. We can reduce the pay tax threshold of 1 million shillings. That means, for those of you that are employed in the formal sector, because currently for as long as you earn anything above 249,000, you are in the tax bracket, you must pay tax. Once we are saying no, anyone who hangs below 1 million shillings, we are not going to tax that money, that is your money. So the tax threshold is going to be 1 million shillings. Anything below 1 million shillings, that is your money, use it to better yourself as an individual. That works a lot better than, you know, I've been seeing all these programs, throw money at people, TDM, yoga, youth livelihood. And yes, we want to bolster our people, and you'll be seeing many of those programs where we can bolster the ordinary people as opposed to foreigners. This money we're throwing at these foreign investors, we want to put it in the local people's businesses. But you begin that by lessening the tax burden on our ordinary folks. That's something that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our party spokesperson. Now, it's kind of things to have a lot of division. We've had governments which people act against each other, people from regions versus the other regions. But we are one people, we are Uganda, and that's why in our third priority point, we talk about national unity. We have deliberate plan to make sure all of us live in this country united. I'll invite Mr. Fred and Mr. George to talk about national unity, which is part and parcel of our party, but also part of our manifesto. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the President and everybody gathered here today. My name is George. I am one of those presenting priorities that states that we as a country must focus on consolidating our national unity. We come from a country that has a history of war. If you're very much aware, every part of this country, including Central, had at least 1 or 3 rebel groups. While all these rebel groups existed, they did not fight an individual. They were all fighting for leadership for everybody in this country. We have consumed fabricated history and distorted lies in a way that they tell us it is NRA that brought peace to the country. It is a lie. There were more than NRA groups that were fighting for peace. They simply lied the other foreign parties to come together and drop their guns, get their leaders' offices like General Ali and others. Even as in person we have them. They get them positions so that they can tell their followers to stop. After they stopped, they were never compensated, they were never empowered, they were left ravished in poverty. And that was done so that they can consolidate power in one person whom we all know. And they told us, they gave us peace. They simply silenced guns. Other regions, I want to give an example of Teso. Teso, with the war that we went through, we lost our backbone economy, which was the cattle economy. We expected that when a government that is concerned of its own people takes over, the first thing they were supposed to do is to make sure that we, the people of Teso, are sat down and given an opportunity to forgive one another, reflect on their future, and consult their efforts in developing the area while government is supporting them. As the National Unity Platform, this is our commitment and promise. We cannot arrive at a consolidated country peacefully without truth-telling. So as a government, we commit to establish a truth, reconciliation, and a justice desk. And here we are demanding that as a country, can we come together? If you know you are responsible for having committed an atrocity, come forth and tell us what happened, not the lies. Ugandans value forgiveness. Ugandans value unity. We assume that somebody cannot forgive you unless you start by telling the truth. So we are saying as a government, first and foremost, we want to put that this in place so that we track all the sources and the causes of why we went into war and therefore forge a way forward. Number 2, as a government, we are saying, can we put in place at least a rehabilitation program. One beginning with psychotherapy rehabilitation. Because we cannot be able to think straight when all of us are suffering from post-trauma disorder syndrome. The syndrome is caused by direct face of traumatic events like war. That is the reason as why they will never arrest an NUP member peacefully. They want to beat them up, bring the torture on so that you can see, so that psychologically you suffer PTSD. All together. They want to make sure, because PST is transferable through your gene. For us in Veso, people fear to face government because our parents transferred the gene of fear and trauma to us genetically. So we are saying as a government, we are putting in place a program to see how best we can de-escalate trauma in the mind of our people. I thank you. I give Joe the chance.
Mr. Toy, we really come from low-tone areas because the energy you put on the mic, you guys know these are people from low-tone areas. Because you have been crying for long, now you have the energy. I hope I'm not going to be also another one. Dear President and comrades present, my name is Bobi, aspiring for MP for Kidul Municipality. When I was contacted to come and present on how reparations on road-torn areas have been done in the new government, I asked myself, how am I going to dress? Should I dress like a person coming from a war-ravaged area? Or should I dress like a person of a new Uganda? And I decided to dress like a person of a new Uganda. Because in the new Uganda, you don't need to look like your problem. In a new Uganda, no one should look at you and say, look at that bakoko. I learned this vocabulary because of teaching in Kampala for 6 years. Comrades, when I was coming, our bus stopped on the way and a group of people putting on round hats and only in speaks entered the bus. If you were supposed to be there and we listen to the whispers of people in the bus say, they are there, they are passing. Yes, those are the bananas who came to steal our land. Those are the ones. I looked at myself, really? In a new Uganda? We still look at somebody's dressing and we believe we can judge them because of the way we look? This is going to change in a new Uganda because of the promises that I'm going to enumerate now. 1, we are going to end sectarianism and tribalism completely in Uganda. We are going to make sure that you are judged by the level of your brain, your competence. This issue of technical law, should stop, but we should go back to technical law. How? You still remember that in your primary? Technical law, how? We used to call that. But these days it has changed. You need to know a certain language. No wonder a certain general called MK said he's going to teach our comrades a certain language that I don't even want to mention, because he is just recognizing innocent people who have nothing to do with their government. That is a family rule. To conclude, I want to say we are going to have equal pay for equal work. Teachers are striking. I want to tell you in Central here you are lucky. From Monday to Friday you get children still going to school. Why? Because their parents are paying school fees. From my village, children have not seen teachers for close to 25 days now. And teachers, the leaders of these teachers are moving around saying we are talking with government. Talking with government? Up to when? Elections are coming. Why don't they use this time for election to pay them if possible? So I'm sending a one to fellow teachers in Uganda. If there has never been a time you want to vote Museveni out, this is the time, because you have not been paid. Let me talk about national unity. We are going to organize national unity festivals and social cohesion functions, where if we are going to dance at the headquarters here, we are going to see Imbalo, we are going to see Raka Raka, we are going to see Baksimba, we are going to see Otole, we are going to see Aitosi from Peso, we are going to bring the Karimojams to jump here, we are going to have all kinds of dance. So because it is called national, thank you so much. To conclude, we are going to empower the existing cultural traditional institutions. Comrades, you realize what happened to the king of Renzuru, King Wesley Mumbere. He was punished by the government for close to 6 years. He never stepped on his soil because he was telling the truth. In the new Uganda, institutions are going to have their autonomy. Traditional institutions are going to be empowered, and this will work throughout the country. They are not going to be used simply to support the government in power, but to tell the truth to power. Thank you so much, comrades. After the attack, we are actually Lango, Karamojang, West Nile. Macham National Unity Platform Group. Watika wajoni gamete manyen papati emini obenero ni apora amatie Uganda motang armanya kule kinami umebo ba choni kinami chon kaka armojo kinami komechon beberu pe Uganda Igamente manyen pa National Unity Platform wabenero ni dufone kichoni binobe wako fuendo tino in Baganda we say abana basome, right? Children are going to go to school. Thank you so much. I continue. Come on, thank you so much. Hey, my friends have started coming to go back to Kidgum.
Thank you so much. When you go back here, then we love them so much too. That said, before we have the next priority area discussed, our alumni from the School of Leadership are preparing a skit for us. So after the next presentation, please prepare our minds to welcome them to present their skit. Having said that, I think the discussion around teachers not teaching and poor quality education takes us to our next priority area, which is access to quality public services. And the emphasis there is quality. So I will welcome Dr. Judith Kwago and our very own Dr. Numbers of doctors to come and present on quality public services. Thank you.
People power. Our power. NUP. And everywhere. Even here. Even in Uganda. Mr. President, the Secretary General, the Leader of Opposition, all leaders present, and the general public of Uganda. Good afternoon to you all. My name is Dr. Sharon Nambasa, and I'll be presenting with Dr. Judith Kwago on priority number 4. And for priority number 4, we are saying that as the National Unity Platform, one of the things that we're going to put emphasis on is access to quality public services. When we talk about public services, we are talking health, we are talking education, we are talking clean water, we are talking transport, we are talking infrastructure. When we look at our health system at the moment, you'll find that out of all the districts in Uganda, about 82 districts lack a general public hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that out of 2,100 plus sub-counties in this country, over 1,696 lack a health center for. If we have all those districts that do not have health centers, where are our people going to go when they fall sick? Recently we saw Chris Baremos fall sick in his own constituency, but there wasn't a single hospital that could attend to him. He had to come to a helicopter to come and airlift him from his constituency, from the people that he represents, to be treated in a different districts where they also have their own MP. But I ask you Ugandans, how many of you have a contact that you can call for you to get a helicopter to airlift you from wherever you are? I think out of all of us here it could only be Mr. President, but I'm not sure. I think you guys also have get a helicopter. So how many people people are dying on a daily because they don't have access to good health care. When we speak about good health care, people believe that we're only speaking because we are privileged. I speak from the profession because I am one of them. I have served in those hospitals. I have been to Uganda Dialysis Center, but I tell you that people fight for beds for them to be able to get dialysis. But I saw a photo of a certain country where a dog was getting dialysis. Our lives less important compared to the dogs that are white swans. We have seen pictures of babies at Kawempe Regional Referral Hospitals in these plastic chairs where we're seated today. Ladies and gentlemen, we lose over 100 mothers on a daily. It's sickening that as I hold this microphone, in this very minute that I'm speaking, there is a woman out there that is bleeding to death because there is no tranexamic acid, because they couldn't get on city. Sorry, I'm going very far. Let me go to education, ladies and gentlemen. You see, in Uganda, over 1 million children that enroll in primary 1. Only about 300,000 make it to primary 7. That is only about how many? 30%? Do you see what I'm saying? Where are these children going that are dropping out? Who is thinking about those very children? They are out there getting pregnant if they're ladies, or if it is a gentleman, he is now going into stealing. And these children are giving birth not to children, but to more poverty, because in the first reason they dropped out, it was because of poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, we find that there are districts where the gentleman with the big heart claims to get 100%, but there is no single secondary school. Are you hearing me? Am I communicating, ladies and gentlemen? As we go ahead, we find that in the education sector, a single pupil is only allocated 20,000 for school fees in an entire year. While we see the Speaker's office getting billions for donations. We see so many spending a lot of money, in different things. They're giving out the dashing out money, but your child is allocated only 20,000 for them to be able to study for an entire year. I don't know that for. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about clean water, I've been to districts where people share water sources with cows. We find that cows are even getting some clean water, but there are districts where they do not get clean water. Out of the 48 million Ugandans here, we find that about 38 million lack access to clean water and to toilets. Where are they putting their stool? Where are they defecating, ladies and gentlemen? In those little areas that we find where we pass, we find there is a heat because they don't have access to clean water, and it trickles down to the health system. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform promises to offer access to good roads. We find that out of the 1,500 plus roads that we have, I think it's 153,000 kilometers worth of road network, only about 6,338 kilometers are paved. That is only about 3.9% of the total road network in Uganda. But even out of that 3.9%, 20% is in good conditions. We have seen the roads that you use. We did the pothole exhibition. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw that we have lakes in the middle of roads. When we speak about our railway system, we don't even have a gauged railway system. But out of the entire railway system, only about 321 kilometers are operational. And from where we saw videos of our own train moving backwards, and everyone was saying, where is it going? But we know that in developed countries, trains are the quickest and easiest means of transport that they actually use. Trains can improve our road transport. Trains can be used to carry out trade from region to region, but that is not what we see in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, when we study about the history of Africa, Uganda, when we constructed Entebbe International Airport, it was the largest international airport in East Africa. And that was before Mr. Museveni took over power. He takes over power 40 years down the road, and Entebbe International Airport is the only airport that we have. Yet it was the biggest in East Africa. We now admire Kenya, we admire Tanzania. But I mean, what are they doing? I have forgotten to tell you that that when Museveni took over power, he grabbed over 5,000 votes in 5 years. 5,000 kilometers of roads in 5 years. And Museveni has done that in 40 years. What more evidence do you need for you to say that it is now for us to have a new and better?
Wow. Nakogerako bannange.
Ekisana mugogo giri nzize kubagulira mu Uganda so that bajjajja wange ab'emisana wankigundu bategere olabe mawukuta ab'emikono muliro musirire mutena mugenda okutegeera bannange Dr. Cholema annyonnyodde oluzungu naye nga tuddeko mu Uganda ngenda kwanguyizaako kubanga obudde butukotte public service mu Uganda population yaffe eri miliyoni 48 nga tugenze maaso ku projekiti nze mu mwaka 2026 population ya Uganda egenda efuuke miliyoni 16 naye kuzo miliyoni 16 abasinga ku abo ebitundu 7 bagenda kubeera bakozi kitegeeza Uganda oba gavumenti erina okwetegekera ekiseera ekyo bwe tuteetegekera tukugenda kubigamukulira kyalina gyetegekera ekiseera ekyo Singapore yakyetegekera ndooza mulaba gye bali so ngatandika mu public service tunayo ebyobulamu ebyenjigiriza amaanyi g'amasannyalaze amazzi amayonjo tulinayo enguudo tulinayo egaali z'omukka tulinayo ebisaawo by'ennyonyi tugamba tuliwa mu Uganda mu biseera bino mu Uganda tulinayo districts 42 ezitalina malwaliro ate nga tulina ne sub-counties tezina health center 3s kandi nga health center 3s watandikira obujjanjabi mu system ya health mu Uganda naye ebyalo oba sub-counties amagombola 16 Uganda health center 3s kagawulire ka story twabaddeyo nga tugenda nga tuva emityana tugenda ekyankonzi ku campaign ya president netusanga health center 3 nesalawo okukikozesa okweyamba unfortunately yabadde abandoned temuli basawo n'abalwadde bali awo tebalina abakolako omugezi omutwende tukumanya zibadde abandoned nasanzeeyo ennumba Mr. President ennumba nezinnuma era ennaku 3 badde siri campaign trail kubanga mbadde ngezaako okuwona naye eno tetwagala okukolako nti tewali health center 3 mu government ya His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Mayuge erita kubeera abandoned nga tugenda maaso mwami Museveni alina emmotoka ezimutambuza 6 wabula 6 naye mu Uganda yonna tulina ambulances 178 mu Uganda lwaki gavumenti emutasobolako bino byetwagala okukyusa nga tugendako bya enjigiriza ndi musanyufu ekino nzaliddwa abasomesa era nasobolako omusomero wa UP so mmanyi ekiriyo ate abazadde bange bakolanga lesonkanzi nga nagindaba kyobeka kyebawazaala omuwala omugezi twetugenda mu byenjigiriza omwana oba buli mwana mu Uganda omulimu 2,200 buli mwaka 2,200 buli mwaka kisobola kukola kino mu Uganda 2,200 tekisobola kugula na kalaamu oba kugula peeni mu mwaka oba mutamu egi buli mwana nasobola okusoma mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tugenda kwongeza funding mu UP schools ekirala ekisinga obukulu banaabana bagenda kusomero bambi nga male ssaawa 8 nga tebalina kyebalidde tugenda kukkiriza ebyo mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi buli mwana ajja kufuna emirimu at least emu buli olunaku basobola okonsentrate kusoma kwabwe ekirala abasomesa beekalakaasa ekisooka tebamala kubanga bw'otunuulira staffing rate y'amasomero mu Uganda gali ku 34%. Mutamala abasomesa era nze mwana wange yasomesanga mu ssomero lya gavumenti naye ng'asomesa subjects 3 lwaki omusomesa omugambadde n'okusomesa subjects 3 buli subject erina okubeera n'omusomesa n'ekirala abasomesa tebabasasudde bulungi kyobola beekalakaasa mu Uganda empya tebajja kubeerawo kwekalakaasa kuba bajja kubeera n'essente eziwala era tujja basasula bulungi okugenda ku kyamazzi baganda bange abasinga mulwala typhoid temumanyiddira ebintu gye biva kubanga bannayuganda abasinga tebalina mazzi mayonjo kyokka nga tulina agayanja gannalubaale tulina kyoga era tulina mu Uganda ezitalina nnyanja zirina amazzi amalungi agayamazi naye mu Uganda tetugalina lwaki tubeera mu gavumenti bwetyo netugenda ku amasomero ebitundu 68 ku 100 talina mazzi amalwaliro ebitundu 44 ku 10 terina mazzi. Lwaki eddwaliro libeera nga terina mazzi? Bwe tugenda ku bya enguudo, Dr. Chimba agambye nti tulina mitundu y'enguudo omutwalo 15 nefuuka omutwalo 15 kilometers mukaaga zokka zenkole ate nga NRM yakakolako kilometers 4,000. Imagine emyaka 4 kitegeeza buli mwaka bakola kilomita 10. Incompetence of this government tetugenda jjukiriza mu gavumenti entawonye gavumenti batugenda maaso nti railway abasinga ddala bazadde baffe batusingako obukulu bazadde bano batambuliranga ku gaali y'omukka naye kati nze emyaka gyange okulaba ku gaali y'omukka ninagenda buli wa Uganda tekigenda kubeera mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi era gena tugenda bikyusa mukule gaali y'omukka ng'osobola okubeera wano e Kampala naye banayo omupiira mubayimasire olinnya high speed train ekutwala dakiika 3 otuusedde walabi omupiira bakomyeyo egambika ne tubasuubiza ekirala era ebintu okusemba amasanyalaze n'amazzi amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi yuniti y'amasanyalaze yasingira 10 ngenda mu saluuni okunsiba enviiri okunnaazabonaza obuviiri omukyala wa saluuni nagamba maama amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi nange nina okugjako sente nyingi naye nga lwaki mbeera nsiba enviiri za sente nyingi lwaki gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tejja yuniti y'amasanyalaze kusiba enviiri 10 n'ebiteekwa kusiba enviiri 5. Ekidomola ky'amazzi tugenda kukijja ku nnusu 12 tukiteeke ku nnusu 10 banagala mugenda kubeera Uganda ate banokonekitinga amazzi n'amasanyalaze bigenda kubeera byabwerere gavumenti egenda kukolako ekisinga obukulu airport mukimanyi lwetu waffe ng'akyakulira ku nsonga yagwale n'abalaga nti mwezi waliyo abakyala bataasoma ne baweja emirimu abataasoma bonna tugenda bagobayo kale baasoma omugigi naye biri ebitabo byetwogera tukwani n'abataasoma tugenda bagobayo tutege abantu abasobola okumanejinga air transport yaffe sina buli region baberewe airport wano Uganda asobola okuvuga n'avalo nomukiga e Kenya ababaddeko e Kenya mukimanyi abantu bavuga okuva e Mombasa ne bagenda ki e Nairobi ate alokost byebwe twagala mu Uganda ekyo bannayuganda tubamaliriza bukimanyi tubyogeddeko sente zaino zigenda kwongezebwa tugenda kwongeza sente funding mu government hospitals ate n'abaana baffe bajja kulyanga emmere y'obwerere buli lunaku neyanzisa nnyo people power our power. Thank you so much, Dr. Judith. In conclusion, here is what the new Uganda promises. With the National Unity Platform, we are saying that our health centers are going to be increased. We are going to increase funding in the healthcare system to about 25%. Or even more, considering what was promised in the Abuja Declaration that said if the health system must improve, at least 16% of the national budget must be dedicated to the health system. We are going to recruit doctors 16 times more than what we have at present. And we are saying that every health center must have a doctor. And we are going to triple other healthcare workers in the new Uganda. In the new Uganda, the funding for the education sector is going to be increased. We are saying why should our teachers be struggling? Yet we have a lot of money. We have over 10 trillion that is falling into corruption every year, but our teachers do not have enough salary. We are saying that connection to the national grid for electricity is going to be free of charge. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to buy electricity poles anymore. You do not have to pay for the wires to have electricity in your homes. We are going to remove value-added tax on electricity bills. We are going to make sure that businesses and domestic users of electricity, where SMEs fall, do not have to pay VAT. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that every village has 10 water sources, clean water sources, and all town councils and municipal councils must construct toilets that will be accessed for free, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so bad when I go to Kampala and I have to look for a toilet and I pay, yet it is even dirty. But they are going to be free of charge in the new Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a railway that connects all the 4 regions in Uganda. Why should it take you 8 hours, 12 hours to come from here to N.U.P, yet you can use a train and get there in 4 hours? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that we have regional, international airports. Even the airports that you see, we're going to put down and we lift very new, good-looking international airports. And there is no reason why you will have to come from Uganda to Entebbe to board a plane to Rwanda. You understand? Yeah. That is what we are saying. We are saying that in the new Uganda, you will not have to struggle for anything. We shall make sure that whatever it is that you need as a public service is available to you. People power. Our power. Kunga Uganda Kunga. Thank you so much.
From what you had, you want more the same or you want change? You already have a bigger picture of what is going to be in the new Uganda. And we're not just saying we are going to do these things, we have people who are going to do these things. I'm sure you're confident that these young ladies and doctors are capable of delivering what they have just promised. That said, before we welcome our alumni to perform the skit, we shall first have a surprise artist, Felisa the superstar, is going to perform for us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. We are going to have one more presentation and then we'll have a skit. At this point, many of you have been asking, because in our manifesto we have told you we are going to create 10 million jobs. And many of you have been saying, how is that possible? I think most of you have gotten used to governments which don't create jobs. I'm going to welcome Honorable Mwanga Chibumbi to present on the issue of unemployment and how we are going to create jobs for you. Thank you so much.
People power, our power, N.U.P President Kyagulanyi Mayuge okukulisaayo mu kuleta Mayuge n'ekuleta Luweero. Bano bamukuriseeyo kyabadde kyakali yakikoze. One, let me start with a simple philosophy in managing an economy. It is akin to going to war. Because quite often, after all this struggle we are in to remove the dictator, and our president, after swearing in, he will be just rectifying momentarily a certain fuel stop. But it will also define how far the climb has been and how steep the next journey to end unemployment, to create a better life, to give our people better opportunities. It will just be a beginning of a major struggle. Now, like any other war, developing an economy entails taking over what we call commanding heights. Commanding heights of an economy starts with, I only mention two that are very relevant. A commanding height of an economy, the first one is an emergency of an enlightened elite class in a country. I'm using the word enlightened, not people who have gone to school. An enlightened elite class is aware they must live simple, so that their people must simply live. They do every sacrifice. They have a command of duty, responsibility, commitment, sacrifice, patriotism, and courage to ensure they deliver a nation. The second commanding height is an emergency of a skilled, which we've talked about, of a skilled, healthy working, for which people have talked about health and education. Another commanding height is peace. When I talk about peace, I'm speaking about durable, predictable, peace that we take for granted, not an absence of war and gunshots. Once you have that peace and stability, then you have occupied another commanding height. But in the role of that peace is the role of the military, for which most militaries in Africa, presidents. The military complex, other than waging war, is the gatherer of strategic information and direction of the country. They have a duty to unflinchingly speak to a president no matter how difficult, to tell the president that what you are doing is not right, change direction, take a new course because of the future of our country. Now, our military, all they do is to consolidate and the presidency. Another commanding height, of course, is finance and banking, which I leave. But my role was to demonstrate to you that we can create 10 million new jobs. I think that is an understatement. In Tanzania here, they have demonstrated, starting with Magufuli, that in 5 years you can transform a country. The young man, the general, in the friend of the president, who told him has demonstrated that in 3 years just, you can transform a country. We are sure with the National Unity Platform, with the discipline of the National Unity Platform, it will take us 2 to 3 years to put Uganda right and begin a new course. Not just to give you peace and stability, to give this country a Is it really be reinventing the wheel? No. Nations start from somewhere. America was given an opportunity by one man called George Washington. So was India. China was given an opportunity by Chairman Mao and others. Singapore by Lee Kuan Yew and so many other countries. So I have no doubt, and I've worked with our president closely. I have no doubt he will deliver Uganda to the promised land. So be out there, and all you have to do is to go out 4 months from now, 2 months, and vote. Now, this is what we are going to do to create jobs. 1, we are going to leverage tourism. Tourism has the potential to create new jobs in Uganda. And let me speak about tourism. Tourism today does not mean the presence of crocodile and lions. For you to have a tourist destination, you must improve all the things the Samims have talked about. Infrastructure, have peace, have better roads, have communication, have better hotels. Once you do that, tourists will simply come, even without branding. So you don't need to. There must be roads without tanks and tear gas. There must be respect for human rights. Every time you put Edimutwe in a basement, you are discouraging 1,000 and hundreds of thousands of tourists. No one wants to come to a country where people are put in a basement. It can't. Every time you see jam on Kampala Road, you are discouraging tourists. So today people go to Dubai. Are there dinosaurs in Dubai? Are there lions in Dubai? Are there valleys in Dubai? Are there rivers in Dubai? It's because they have done a first-class infrastructure. That's what our government will do. The second thing we shall do to leverage is to create an industrial sector that can create jobs. An industrial sector that can create jobs will be the one that has a backward and a forward linkage. Backward linkage is an industrial base that will be built on our comparative advantage, which is agriculture. And when you build an industry on agriculture, 2, we are now getting a new comparative advantage. We are one of the richest nations in mineral potential in the world. From oil to uranium to gold to tin to everything you need in Uganda we have. How very fast and actually the thinking in the other sector of the economy is if we had developed our industrial sector, our mineral sector faster, we would never have needed to borrow to develop the oil sector. Therefore, we are going to fast track a huge industrial complex based on our mineral resources, on our agricultural resources, on our fish industry, on everything we have, and create hundreds and millions of jobs for our people. We're also going to do where our presidents come from. He has been speaking about the 4 A's. Okay? The arts, the academics, so we are going to do a sports and the arts industry that will deliver Uganda. And we can tell you today, A 1 billionaire that has joined the billionaire rank this week by Forbes magazine is not an industrialist. He's a one-man called Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a footballer. How many Cristiano Ronaldos can we have in Uganda? You see a young man like Alan Okello. Had he been given opportunities years back, that one would be a billionaire in the making. We have artists that are doing so well. We've just seen a young girl here performing, so perfect. In another world, this younger girl instantly will be a millionaire in terms of millions of what? Dollars. They won't be performing in Uganda. No. And there you need a right law, corporate law. You need a law that protects artists. You need a law that ensures that they earn from their talent. And that law, Mr. President, in the next 200 days of our parliament, we will put that law in place. So once you do those best things, then other things simply fall in. So our promise for a new Uganda is a Uganda that will ensure you have a heritage of prosperity, not for now, not for our children, it will be for infinity and beyond. And with those few words, I thank you. I'm requested to translate what I've talked about in Uganda briefly. Ensi yonna National Platform bw'emala okuwangula egenda ku lutabaalo olwokubiri. Olutabaalo olwokubiri lwe lw'okukyusa obulamu bw'abannansi. Okubatta mu mbeera embi gye mukooye tugende mu mbeera ki ey'okwesiima. Tetubagamba ngu tuwanirira mu nsi muno mubeere baavu. No! Ekitulwanyisa bannayuganda mubeere baki bagagga nga muli mu bulamu obukola ki obwesiimisa. Nga temusula na swegi. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ebimuli. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ente. Abantu mu Uganda basula wamu n'embuzi. Nga temuli mu nnyumba za nsiisira. Ng'obudde bwe buziba tekitegeeza kizikiza, kitegeeza ekitangaala obukulembeze obulungi obulala bwe bukikuwadde. Ng'abantu abagala okuba obulungi muli buki bulungi. N'olwaki olutalo lwe tuliko lwakuba buki bulungi. Kubanga tukoye embeera ki ebyo kubifuna wano wammanga tulina obikola. One, wateekwa okuvaayo abakulembeze abaagala eggwanga lyabwe nga ddala mweyo kya ggwanga. Ekyo kitegeeza si bakulembeze bannabyabufuzi bokka, nammwe mwenna bagayi. Olikaawo, oli simanyi oli community development officer, oli nurse, oli headmaster, working a permanent secretary in our government, a corrupt one, to pack your bags nga tetunasimbula. Olumala kulanga bwekyo olyanza ebibujini ebuli corrupt, please just run away. Kyagulanyi atuuse, kiboko ya uchafu. Kiboko ya uchi, kiboko ya uchi, kiboko ya uchi. Lero bwe tuleeta kiboko ya uchi. Buli alimutate kobeere speaker ojja genda, kobeere ame kamanda ojja genda, kobeere nga gosandisitasoka okuba permanent abali mu office musibe ttayi tubaviira ku nguudo tubawa emmotoka empya tubasasulira insurance. Please obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe bugenda kuba kolera ggwanga lyaffe n'abantu baffe. Ne political class will be required to do that. Political class itegeeza buli omu okuva ku president, genda ku kansala, genda ku w'omuluka, genda ku gwekkaata foot soldier. Togaba foot soldier, genda mu gavumenti ng'osuubira tinaawe olifuna omukisa okubba essente z'eggwanga. Ekitugwala mu kino enswalinya nti abaana baffe n'ensi yaffe tubawa ekyobusika ekyaleero ekyenkya ekiribaawo abada tugende mu nsi ey'essanyu, okwesiima, okuba obulungi, okweyagala, okufa nga tetukolima lwaki twazaalibwa.
Never want to open the book. Story. But we are maximum prison. We have popular resistance. Nesangayo mwana omuto. Bali were young boys. Nemba buza wachiwa bakuti. Nebangamba wanirusira wotulese muwanga. Wotusanze twesimika okuba wano dano okubeebweyo. Nemba buza lwaki. Nebangamba tiwano mukomera tuli aswaji ekyeggulo kyakawunga naye wekiri. When I was younger, they were happy to be in prison because they would be assured of supper and dinner and shelter. That's not the Uganda we want. So man and motor, I just prefer to see a camera than a camera which is a way rather a new camera after a check or which a chemisana. No way. Tugenda kutumbula eby'obulambuzi nga tutandikira ddala okulaba nti buli kimu ekikola obulambuzi tukiteekamu ssente ezeetaagisa tusobole okuleeta abalambuzi baleete ssente bazireke wano nga baba mu Uganda tebeeraliikira tiyagaasi. Tebajja kukwatibwa twalira mu komera. Tebajja kuba mu infrastructure. Actually Malaysia waliyo tourism police. Abalambuzi ne bajja Malaysia okuva ku airport ng'oli mulambuzi. Mu kifaananyi mu kadenge zino ezitwala balupembe. Ogenda okutuuka bw'ojja ng'oli mulambuzi nga emmotoka za poliisi zitambuza balupembe bagenda mu ofiisi kunyaga ssente zaffe. No, those pickups wali yazereero nga gavumenti oba ow'eggombolola yamuwadde mmere waliwo wano waliwo eyazze ng'omwezi guno yafunayo akawunga ka gavumenti yafunayo omucere gwa gavumenti noti ensi esobola okweriisa olubuto tetitwala myaka 3 ena kugitereeza. Sebo president myaka 3 kwekiti mujja kubeera mu ggwanga eddala singa mukozi eki temubaddemu nga nebyenfuna bwebiki bitangaavu. Okola ekyo tugenda kukwata ebyobugagga mu ttaka ku nnyanja. Tugenda kuzimba amakolero nga gasobola okuliikiriza oba galiikirizibwa obuki obulimi n'okwongera ssente mu by'obulimi. Tugenda kutumbula ebitone. Tugenda kutumbula ebitone by'abantu bonna mu Uganda asobola okudduka wekanya okugulumeza, asobola okuba ebikonde naawe nyweza ebikonde, asobola okuyimba bambi teekamu amaanyi, asobola buli kyosobola okukola kiteekemu amaki amaanyi. Ati Kyagulanyi ajja. Abantu mweka bateetaaga Kyagulanyi namwegamba buulire mu ababbi abagayaavu abatukaleeti ku mirimu ono gwe tuleese kibooko yawuka. Kibooko yawuki yawuka. National Unity Platform is a train for disciplining Ugandans and delivering for a better country. I thank you. God bless.
The President, bw'awulidde ebigenda okubeera mu Uganda empya afunye akakisa okubeera wano naye otegeeze buli omu ky'owulidde wano leero. Era abantu mu Baganda bali those who had given up empapula bazituweko enfuufu. Uganda empya empapula ezo zigenda kuba za mugaso. Ky'owulidde tegeezaako munno asobole okutegeera ekitulindiridde Uganda empya. Having said that, mutya kutuukiriza tuweko omukisa alumni ba School of Leadership baje baperforming on the skit. The people power! Our power! NUP! Everywhere! Ladies and gentlemen! Sasa wewe mukirize bategeze the official campaigners flag bearers NUP basegede mulungi kakati listen very carefully to the good news, ladies and gentlemen,
to the oppressed, to the mothers who put bed on hospital floors, to the parents whose children have been seated at home for months to Japan. This
wabula kusina kasimba obulago bwalwadde.
Akabonero ki bategeze NUP tulondanga to no, how do you leave such an leader? Please gentlemen here. This guy here, we know him. He competed for the party card. He was not given that chance. And then you decided to run independently. My friend, we had trust in you. We trusted you. You the flag bearer is here. Hello, comrades. Yes. My name is Honorable Borogoro.
Borogoro yalina kadi. Mama.
I am here to tell you about my manifesto. Before even the manifesto. My first thing I'm going to do as the Honorable is to make sure I supply sugar. I'm going to make sure I supply salt. Everybody will have salt in their home. I am the rightful honorable, and I'm giving you sugar and salt. Listen, I'm going to make sure I give you rice. What is that? That is my beautiful manifesto. I see. I don't know. Relax. Yes. You are the flag bearer of NUP. Yes, my friend. NUP has a very strong manifesto. You don't have to feed it around looking for what to say to tell people. Just finish something. Don't worry. Our manifesto has priorities. Priority number 1, restore freedom, constitutionalism, rule of law, and our party, everything. Read a manifesto. I want to tell you, our manifesto has priorities. Priorities number 2. We want to end corruption and wasteful expenditure. We're going to have a lean and efficient government. MPs twagala abiri, ministers twagala abiri, MPs twagala 8, district twagala 6. Honorable, yes, we are going to have in a new Uganda, we are going to consolidate national unity. We are going to rebuild communities and eliminate sectarianism. Uganda Manifesto. Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the new Uganda that we the citizens of this beloved our country are claiming for now.
Yes.
National Unity Platform Manifesto guarantees equal access to quality public services. Ladies and gentlemen, education, healthcare, energy, and public infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, National Unity Platform Manifesto got you in this our country that we are suffering with high rate of
sharing a live
property. Ladies and gentlemen, the NUP Manifesto is going to create 10 million new jobs in this our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform people in this our country, whether we have children that suffer with hunger in schools, ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform Manifesto is going to establish a public school feeding program to transform agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, what a manifesto.
Put the priorities down. Put the priorities. Comrades, yes, honorables, we still have much more. Not only the already outlined priorities of the manifesto, but our mighty party is also committed to tackle all issues on land with immediate effect. It will stop land grabbing, it will restore stolen land to victimized individuals, as well as guarantee to secure land rights. All good news for you, comrades. As reflected into the priority 8 of our manifesto, our N.U.P as a party will directly promote decentralization at all levels, both at local and regional government. My honorable, my comrades, our mighty party, the N.U.P, is going to strengthen the foreign policy, positioning the diaspora as an asset, as well as strengthen our competition at local level in order to build and develop our country in the Uganda.
In Uganda, natural resource management and technology.
Now, gentlemen, you made a very big mistake. We had a trust in you. But since you decided to stand against the flag bearer, you violated all the party values. Think about the revolutionary discipline, where you had to accept the results. No, you are no longer trusted. You lost that trustworthiness. You are no longer reliable, and you lost that integrity.
Talks about the obligation of you as a member of the party, that you have the obligation to abide and protect our party constitution. And Article 5.5c also tells you that if anyone stands against the party flag bearer and then will cease to be a member of National Unity Platform.
Your candidate is no longer a member. That's what you are moving.
President Bobi atukobera tusibe ebugaito asitutikinga engaito we have foreigners here.
Alliance of political commitment. We've clearly listening to you. Coming to my concern that indeed His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Mayuge is the true leader. Lastly, I want to categorically state that according to your manifesto, you do not have to be an elite to work for the people or to execute duties for the people. N.U.P manifesto is the only way to go.
People power.
Who wants it?
I'm going to
Those are the alumni from our school of leadership. Era okusoma kulungi. Lw'okuyanirwanira akakisa okusoma era essomero lyaffe ery'obunyumidemu mu ssomero lyaffe. We hope to expand the capacity of the school. Of course, it's regrettable that this government has inducted our leaders of the school, but at least you can see the value that comes of that, out of that investment. We continuously tell you that the government you have currently is working against you, not for you. No one would not want to have a school which gives us such products, such levels of creativity. Naye tulowooza nti mwina abadde balaba mutegedde ensonga eziri mu manifesto yaffe. At this point, our time is fast spent, but also conveniently, we plan that when it reaches this time, we can present the popular school feeding program. So the next priority area is the school feeding program, which is going to be presented by our party treasurer, Honorable Benjamin Katana. You're welcome.
People power, our power,
people power,
N.U.P, everywhere. You know, it's very dangerous to talk about feeding at the time when people are beginning to feel hungry. Take a short time. Mr. President, our distinguished leaders, and all of you citizens, fellow citizens gathered here, and those that are watching us from elsewhere. I am here to share one of the priority areas in our manifesto, which is about the school feeding program. As the nation, we have had the misfortune of being led by a group of incompetent and unambitious people who only measure success on the basis of the past. And as a result, they have made some sections of our society equal and ambitious. And when we present a very fine picture of how in Uganda the future will look like my colleagues have ably done, there are many people who doubt whether it will be implemented or not. The school feeding program is a multi-sectoral, multi-purpose and multi-dimensional program that is intended to achieve about 4 objectives under the bigger idea of NUP's plan for improving the quality of life of Ugandans. Because a government which cares about its people, a government which is people-centered, will automatically focus on improving the quality of life of the citizens. So the first objective under this plan, so the plan is basically about providing a meal to the school-going children at primary level every day, a hot meal that is nutritious. And of course we are going to do a survey, and the materials will be sourced from the homesteads in this country. So the first objective is to boost household incomes. And how do we intend to achieve this? We intend to elevate the household in Uganda into a production unit that will produce these raw materials that will be procured for purposes of feeding the children at school. If you are in an area, for example, that produces soybean, and you know that it's a nutritious product that will help to boost the growth of these children, that will help to eliminate malnutrition-related diseases, then the investment will be in soybean to make sure that the different households in that area are supported to produce soybean, which will be procured by the school to feed the children. If you are from a fishing community and you have silverfish mokene, or you have fish, the investment of the N.U.P government will be in that sector to make sure that the households are able to supply the school with this product and earn money, but also feed the children. If you you are from a milk producing community, and we have so many people who have been struggling with market for their milk to the extent that sometimes you see they are pouring it, sometimes they are selling it at 200 shillings a litre, when in Kampala it is 2,000 a litre. We are going to provide a market at the nearest school. The government of N.U.P will procure the milk, feed your children will be healthy, but your pockets will also be healthy. The other aspect related to that, away from boosting the household incomes, is boosting agriculture. Agriculture is the leading employer in this country.
Okay.
However, it has not received sufficient support from government. And one of the challenges that the farmers face is the lack of market for their products. I've given you an example of milk, and there are several other examples where people are struggling to find market for their products. Sometimes they are even cheated by the middlemen and middlewomen, but also cheated by the so-called industrialists who are protected by the cartel that whose ambition is only to extract money from the population. So now we want to create a market at the nearest school in your community to make sure that now your products will be sold to the school, you will earn money, your children will feed, and they will learn well. The other aspect related to that is fostering better learning environment. A hungry child cannot concentrate in class. By the statistics of government itself, today, the dropout rate in primary school is 68%. By implication, it means that out of 100 people who enroll in P1, 68 of those 100 don't complete P7. And that is a time bomb. And my colleagues have ably explained the other interventions that our government is going to come up with, including the increment of the capitation grant from the 6,000 per term to a more reasonable figure. But we are now also, in addition to that, going to introduce feeding of children at school so that people are not driven out of class by hunger to go to prison like the ones that the Honorable Mwanga was talking about. Even in school, you see, children are comfortable going to jail because they are assured of dinner. But now we want to make sure that they are comfortable going to school because they are assured of a meal, and a nutritious meal. Fellow citizens, the other intervention related to that is about the elimination of malnutrition. Every household in Uganda today spends a lot of money, and which money most households do not have on meeting medical bills for taking children to hospital. And most of these children fall sick because of low immunity levels, because of poor feeding. So by feeding these children with a hot nutritious meal every day, we are going to reduce the cost of medical bills significant amounts by making sure that the children are healthy, they are feeding well, and they are learning. They are not missing school because they are sick, and the parents are not spending money they don't have on them to meet medical bills because they are healthier. And so many people have been asking, when we have been talking about this, the school feeding program, that how are you going to implement this? We intend to implement it through by working closely with PTA, the Parents Teachers Associations. Most of them under the current regime have collapsed, but we are going to work hard to make sure that we restore them, that we strengthen them, so they can be leading stakeholders working with the government, but particularly working with the community development officers at the sub-county for purposes of coordination to make sure that this program is implemented. We are also going to make sure, especially in areas where production of these nutritious things is a little bit complicated because of that. And then we have other interventions like irrigation that my colleagues have talked about. But we are also going to make sure that we strengthen the production unit of state agencies like Uganda prisons, so that they can be able to produce for some parts of the country that are not able to produce some of these products. And the fellow citizens, this intervention also has a multiplier effect. In a sense, that if the schools in a certain sub-county in Chusa are procuring eggs for the school, it means that even the person who makes the chicken feeds is going to get a business. It means that some young people are going to get jobs to work in the poultry farm. It means that some young people are going to get jobs to work in the feeds factory. So this program is comprehensive and it is intended to cover a number of dimensions. How do we intend to do this? We intend to spend 1,500 on each student per day. And we are targeting 5 million children for the initial program. The total cost of this comes to around 1.5 trillion to implement this. And many people have been asking that where are you going to get 1.5 trillion from? My colleagues have given you a clear picture of what is happening in Uganda, and our president has been emphasizing that Uganda is a rich country, but we are we are poor people. Because the statistics of the Inspectorate of Government have placed the money lost to corruption to about 9 trillion a year. And for us, we are looking for 1.5 trillion to feed our children. That is a very insignificant part of the money that is lost. We have been told about the mineral wealth that this country is blessed with. Our responsibility is to utilize the wealth for the benefit of the citizens. And so many people have been asking that there is a program going on called Parish Development Model. That how is it going to continue surviving under the NUP government? NUP government is a pro-people government, is a pro-development government. And what has not been managed well, our responsibility is to manage it well. The money that people are being given, for example, to go and invest in whichever it is, without training, without proper alignment with the market forces, for us in making sure that households produce food which will be procured by the schools in their communities. And by doing so, the little money that they are given will have a big impact, not just on their income, but on the health of their children and the health of the nation. I thank you.
Thank you so much. If you think that 1.5 trillion is a lot of money, remember that Uganda, under the NUP government, has since spent 1.24 trillion on Lubowa hospital projects, which remains a construction site at best. So the problem is not a lack of finances, it is the misuse of those finances. Thank you so much. We are going to welcome Madam Ramto Apio Flavia, who will present about how we are going to stop land grabbing, which we think is a very serious challenge in this country that has affected all the other forms of development, because we believe that land is a very crucial factor of production and any other form of development we want to do. She will also be joined by Ms. Natalie Margaret, who will present about empowering regional and local governance. Thank you so much. I will come the ladies to come and present
Sikulabanga bana sina tripod mulaba nkanka n'engalo sina tripod bwabera wasobola okumpa tripod yebale nnyo.
People power. Our power. Our power. People power. My name is Ramto Flavia Pio from northern Uganda, Omoro district. I bring you revolutionary greetings from all the villages of Omoro district. Firstly, because we are the first-hand victims of land grabbing in Uganda today. For many of us, for millions of Ugandans, if not all, we live in fear of losing our land. But to government officials, to government actors, and to many investors in the disguise of conservation. However, we bring a new Uganda. No wonder, us from Northern Uganda are very eager for the new Uganda. We are eagerly waiting. It's 3 months now. And I assure you, it is protest votes up there. Since 2006, my brothers from the North can testify. The Uganda Wildlife Authority gazetted the areas of our power in the disguise of conservation, I repeat. And our people of Madi and Acholi were forcefully and bitterly convicted from their lands. Many years later, they were given unsatisfactory compensation. This has led to a lot of people picking arms against each other. Madi and Acholi have lived together from the times of our ancestors. But after this, we saw a lot of us picking arms against each other. We saw us picking hangers, fighting each other. Convictions have become a big issue in Northern Uganda because it has torn our communities apart. Not just the communities of Acholi, but the communities of West Nile, of Karamoja, of Lango. But here's the good news. The National Unity Platform that seeks election to government looks to address visible solutions to these pending issues. First, with land and tenants by enforcing legal safeguards for minor landowners and tenants. We'll also look at secure customary land rights by reviewing current past land transactions and taking concrete steps to restore land to rightful owners. We're also looking at having registration of all land. From a small landowner in Amuru to a big landowner in Entebbe, all your land is registered, because why not? As young graduates, NUP also seeks to support us to use technology to establish a homegrown IT system using the blockchain technology that is a secure digital system. The graduates in the house, you need to be very excited because finally we shall have jobs in the new Uganda. This will accommodate registration of all land, I repeat, and they'll have no more forged and fraudulent titles. We're seeing a lot of people losing their land because the powerful and the people in the government are using fraudulent means to get titles. The National Unity Platform seeks with a bold vision on land rights where no one lives in fear of possible eviction, unhealthy conflict, fraudulent acquisition of titles, closing loopholes of land grabbing and neglected land rights. Thank you so much, and people power, our power, our power, people power.
Yeah, Charlie.
Afoy down Dutch, Miku Malme Uganda, Mi Central Uganda, Mika Weng Uganda. And here I'm to appear Flavia, Agio Moro District. Team Area 7, Maloro Lokamanu Mom, Padam, Miku Malme Uganda. Muku Lokamom, it is Uganda Wakanti. Watie Major National Unity Platform kawaji wabikelu repair mime anoni momu mi palute dero piki kwani won palute dero Iganga piki kwani won palute dero Uganda piki kwani won palute dero kawe Uganda kan afori.
Isn't Uganda such a beautiful place? Thank you so much. We appreciate, we love you, we recognize the pains of our people who have lost their land and this government. But she talks about the fact that we want to create a system where people can access digitally. Your land title and right escape should not be a secret. That it is hidden somewhere. Omuntu yenna yandibadde ategeera ettaka erikomawa oba liriwa ekyapa kiriwa kisobola okuteekawo sisitimu eyakalimagezi esobola okusobozesa ffe ng'abannansi okulaba ettaka lyaffe nekituyambako abatabagala nnyo okuba ettaka because they complicate the systems. That said, there is a special person, special to me and special to the team from this side, who has been breaking down the manifesto on their social media platforms. Those of you asking how can I understand the manifesto further, you'll go through NUP's social media platforms and all the content is there. Allow me in a special way to welcome her to talk about regional and local government's devolution. The real one, not the one they pretend about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. People power. Our power.
People power.
A protocol observed. My name is Margaret Natabi. I am from Mukono municipality. And today I'm going to talk about priority number 8, which seeks to empower regional and local governance through real devolution. Now when you're talking about devolution, we are basically speaking transfer of powers from the central government to the local government or regional government. And you should pay more attention to the word real, because someone from this government is going to come and argue that, oh, we have devolution, we have decentralization, but it is not real. Ladies and gentlemen, the decentralization in the interim government is pseudo, but the N.U.P government wants to bring to you real devolution. We want to have a region or a local government that has real power. Power to give you the public services you deserve, power to make sure they make decisions that affect you, the common person. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to, with a very painful heart, I want to inform you that the local government, I want to bring to your attention that the local government only gets 7.2% of the total national budget. While we are supposed to do 70% of the work you see this government is doing. Why? If you didn't know, the local government is in charge of your roads. All those roads you see that do not connect to the roads that are constructed by UNRWA are done by the local government. The health centers you see in your community or in Uganda, they're under the care of the local government. The public schools or government schools is in your area, they're under the care of the local government. But we get funding that is way less. And this national unity platform government wants to end that. Our promises are only 4 in the new Uganda when it comes to local government. Because you know, when we work on the local government, every Ugandan out there is going to receive the public services they need. Number 1, we want to bring what we call the National Devolution Dialogue Council. This is going to be like a committee that is going to be revising, because before the interim government came, all the governments before, we had regional governments. We didn't have this many districts we have today. When the interim government came and they bring the Local Government Act, they have been trying to break down the districts to the many 140 plus districts we have today. They are not breaking down the districts to improve the public services to you. They are basically breaking up districts to increase the votes, to increase the number of MPs in parliament that support the NRM. Now, for us, we are bringing this council to make sure we discuss. The council is going to have religious leaders, cultural leaders, civil leaders, and regional leaders to discuss. If we went back to regional governance, how would Uganda be? And this council, we want to bring it in 2026, immediately after swearing in. We come up with this council. Number 2, I come with sad news for anyone here or anyone watching who was waiting to become an RDC in the N.U.P government. One thing we are going to delete immediately we get power are the office of the RDC, assistant RDC, deputy RDC, because the just taking our money has not to improve services. I must tell you that the LC2 leaders, they get 10K. 10,000 Uganda shillings per month, and this money comes at the end of the year. For recent parliament sat and they agreed to increase their money to 50,000. This government doesn't love you, dear Ugandans, because most of these LC1 chairpersons are NRM, and they get 10,000. That's why you see them out of office every time. That's why you see them increasing the amount of money you have to pay to get a stamp, which you would get a free of charge. Now, we've been telling you Ugandans that this government doesn't love you, and you didn't know until at least we from Mukono we got a chance, and the man told us point blank live, Nchabe Mukono sina chembebuya. Likewise, wherever you are, namwe taina chabebuya. So this is the time to go to a leader aina chabebuya, a leader that wants to achieve well-being. We want to address regional inequality. We must agree that Uganda faces the same problems when it comes to infrastructure, health, schools, etc. But also we must accept that there are problems in the education sector in northern Uganda or in eastern Uganda are not the same as in central Uganda. We must agree that the health care or the roads in other regions of the country are not at the same level. So much as we want to improve these infrastructure and public services, we have to be careful on where we add more money so that we can lift different regions to the same level. And those are the four basic parts we are going to focus on. And maybe briefly for the people that don't understand English, National Unity Platform, getuse mu buyinza, twagala okulabanga tuteekawo olukiiko luyise National Devolution Dialogue Council. Olukiiko lugenda kwerako abakulembeze ab'ekinnansi, abakulembeze ab'ebitongole by'obwannakyewa, abakulembeze b'ebisaawa eno n'abakulembeze ba regions. Tulabe tusena tulera ku nkola gye twalina eya federal nga buli region erina obukulembeze obwayo. Uganda eno egenda kubeera etya kuba tugizuga disitulikiti ze tulina ennyingi gavumenti ezizeereese tebali kuzireetawo kwongeza mpeereza y'emirimu gye balina obakolera, wabula bagyongeza kwongeza omuwendo gw'ababaka ba palamenti aba palamenti aba NRM. Basically tebali mukikola kuwongeza bukulembeze. N'ekirala twagala twongeza ku funding, twongeza ku ssente ze tuwa local government, kubanga tulabye nga bakola ebitundu 7/10 ku mirimu gavumenti eno gyerina okukola mu masomero, mu malwaliro, ku nguudo n'ebirala, wabula ng'ate ssente ze babawa ntono nnyo. Twagala twongeze from 7.6% etuliko kati up to 40% by 2030. Twagala tuteekeyo graders, twagala tuteekeyo tractors, twagala tuwe at least manifesto yagambye at least buli district ebeereyo ne tippers 5 okutandikirwako okulaba nga ziri ku solid waste management. Twogedde ku chairperson b'ebyalo LC2s, akasente tugambye buli ssentebe w'ekyalo oba LC2 afuna $1,000 buli mwezi, ate nga tezijja buli mwezi, zijja ng'omwaka guwedde, kutegeeza mu mwaka ssentebe w'ekyalo afuna $12,000. Palamenti yatudde n'eteesa babongereko babe ku $1,000 mpaka ku $5,000. Ne mbagamba bannayuganda, gavumenti eno kyetwagalangako, olaba LC abasinga mu Uganda bali mu kibiina kya NRM naye bafuna $1,000 olwo gwe nakato waabwe nakaddu waabwe atalina wa NRM osubira bagenda kufaako ddi. Ne tugamba nti twagala twongeze nga bwe tuba tugaba ssente zigenda okukola emirimu mu regions eza Uganda ez'enjawulo, tuzongeza okusinziira ku need nti abatalina amasomero mu regions endala nti fenna tulina ebizibu byebimu ebijja ku byokusoma, ebyobulamu, enguudo n'ebirala, wabula tulina okukkiriza nti regions ez'enjawulo zifeesinga ebizibu bino mu ngeri za njawulo. Yes, mu Buganda tuyinza okugamba amasomero tulina mabi, naye nga ddeeko y'obubi gye tuliko ate si yemu n'abali mu Eastern region oba mu Northern oba mu West. Katwagala nga tuba tuweereza zino ssente tuzichannelling according to need okusinziira ku bwetaavu. So yeyo priority yaffe number 8 in brief, ngala we wabagambye bannayuganda mwenna nagezazaako okumenya manifesto zo priority zonna 11 mu Luganda kuva kusooka paka ku esembayo. Page yange nze natabe ku TikTok n'abalala basharinze ku X. So in case totegeera Luganda babadde basharinga muzungu bonna bonna nga bibadde bikalubirizaamu, osobola okugenda ku TikTok eyo ne weeyongera okunnyonnyoka zino zonna priorities mu lulimi Oluganda neeyanziza nnyo.
Kyakyamalenga Uganda kumpi akakiiko kagenda kubeerako abakulembeze b'ennono. Abamu manyi tubadde mutukute kuyambenge naye. I know some of you have been enjoying the presentation, but we are about to come to an end. Right, is what the name, but just starting to come. I know that some of you have been enjoying the presentations, but we are about to come to our end. We have only 3 that are left. We will present those quite quickly, and then we recognize that time has been fast spent. We don't want to keep you here. We have told you the new government want people to work, to use their talents, to develop our nation. So we want to give you also time to prepare yourselves for the new government. That said, I'm going to welcome our next member, Council Stasi Marvin, to talk about how we are going to position our country to the diaspora. Just going to speak to how we are going to position our foreign policy outlook. Let me welcome Council Stasi Marvin to come and present in the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi. So I rarely speak in public. I am still trying to catch my breath. I hope you can bear with me. I'm happy to see you here. My name is Stasi Marvin. I think I've already been introduced. By show of hands, how many of you know a doctor called David Sylvester? How many of you have you heard of a doctor called David Sylvester? Okay, no one. So Dr. Mujimu is or was a surgeon. He worked for 26 years in a country called Namibia. When he was approaching his retirement, the Namibian government blocked his bank accounts. They didn't just block his bank accounts, they took 6 billion Uganda shillings of his savings and they took them to their central bank. Dr. Mujimu sued everyone he could in Namibia and he went all the way up to the Supreme Court and he lost. In frustration, Dr. Mujimu gathered the little that he had left. He gathered his cars, there were about 2 state-of-the-art Land Cruisers and a Toyota Fortuner. This is 2017, and he hit the road from Namibia to Uganda. He came by road. He came with his cars, and he came with hundreds of millions of cash. When he reached the border at Mutukula, he was arrested by a team of JAT and Ugandan police officers from N.U.P. They arrested him from no man's land, took his money, about 300 million, and then now brought him up to a police post somewhere in Mutukula. They accused him of funding rebels fighting the Ugandan government. And after a while, they released him. They set him free on police bond. But the real thing that they wanted, the real reason why they arrested him was to take the money and the property. So in as much as they set him free, they held onto the cars, and of course they held onto the cash because formally and under the law, they had not taken the money. He went and complained to Professional Standards Unit, and eventually the charges against him of fighting the regime were found bogus and they were dismissed. After some time, this whole ordeal traumatized him so much. He became a drug addict. When I say drugs, I really mean medical drugs. So he started abusing drugs and they took him to Tarika Hospital. But after some time, he escaped from the hospital and went back to his home in the constituency of Honorable Seru Kenya. It was in Chikajo Match in the Sabagau. So one random day in September 2018, Dr. Mujimu committed suicide. He left a suicide note that said he had committed suicide because of the stealing of his property by Ugandan police and everything that he had gone through. Now, the story of Dr. Mujimu, I believe, is a story that many of our comrades in the diaspora find relatable. You, our comrades, are patriotic, you are hardworking, and you love your country. But you left Uganda because Uganda had stopped
protecting and working for you. There is so much you can contribute to our country's development, but remain underutilized, you remain neglected by a regime that now sees you as enemies instead of seeing you as citizens with full and equal rights. You are abused and sometimes killed at work, but Uganda never intervenes for you. You can't renew your passports or get national IDs without hassle. Bureaucracy when you try to invest back home. You cannot protect your property in Uganda because it's so far away. You are homesick, you miss your families, you miss your friends, you miss relatives, you miss that smell of the soil when we just had a downpour, when we just had rain. Some of you are on expired visas, especially in the Arab countries, but you cannot return home because first of all you can't afford the air tickets, and you also cannot afford the fines. You are doing jobs that you hate to death, but you continue doing them anyway because your life depends on them. You are enduring all the suffering because of poor leaders, but you cannot vote them out because you are too far away from Uganda. So you are basically excluded from the politics, from the life, from the economy, and from the decision making of this very country to which you contribute about 5 trillion Uganda shillings every single year. Well, I am here to comfort you and let you know that the National Unity Platform sees the struggles. We feel your pain, and we are committed to ending that pain in the following terms. Number 1, we shall ensure that you can vote in Uganda's elections no matter where you might be in the world. We shall remove all unnecessary limits to you acquiring your citizenship. Number 3, we shall grant automatic citizenship to any child under 18 years that's both Ugandan parents in the diaspora. Our embassies shall process your passports and national IDs within 7 days of you applying for them. We shall facilitate the elderly, the distressed Ugandans abroad to return home. We shall also assist them to readjust to life in Uganda and settle in like they never left. We shall organize and fund annual cultural trips for Ugandan children born in the diaspora to learn more about their culture and languages. We shall introduce what we call, or what is called, diaspora bonds, through which your comrades in the diaspora, who are able and willing, shall lend money to the government with the guarantee that you'll get it back with a fat interest. We shall run a digital investment center through which you'll be able to register businesses, buy property, make other investments in Uganda right from your mobile phone. We shall operate a secure and digital land registry system and amend our land laws to make sure that you can buy, sell, or enforce your rights in land without stepping in Uganda. As for our skilled professionals, we shall facilitate your temporary permanent return home and reserve for you employment opportunities in our public service. For Ugandans suffering in Arab countries, we shall have free embassy services to fight in your corner. In other words, we shall grant the diaspora, number 1, your full political rights. Number 2, the economic instruments you need to trade. Number 3, the legal protections you need to be safe and keep what you can. Number 4, we shall grant you a seat at the policy table deciding Uganda's future. I have read from cover to cover the manifestos of the 2 strongest opponents to our presidential candidate. This is exactly what those manifestos promise you, our comrades in the diaspora. These are the promises we make to you. So to back up our plan for the diaspora, as part of our foreign policy, this is what we came to do. Number 1, we are going to withdraw all non-career diplomats from our embassies and replace them with competent professionals. Number two, we are going to renegotiate international agreements, prioritize the interests of Ugandans, while at the same time ensuring that these agreements still remain beneficial to our neighbors and to the international community. In short, we are going to turn Uganda into a country that works for all Ugandans and shows up for them no matter where they might be on this planet. We shall build a new Uganda where we will never again be raped, tortured, dehumanized, and forced into exile just because you hold a contrary political opinion. That Uganda government is very possible. When I visited Dubai in 2022 and I saw the transformation that desert had gone through, I concluded, me as a person, that any country can transform itself if it decides to. All it needs are leaders who are intentional and have the will to do what's right, no matter the cost. To transform Uganda, we just need political will. We don't need magic, we don't need miracles. And that political will now has a face. It has a name, and it has the heartbeat of the man seated right there. He knows what it means to rise from nothing and achieve everything. But he also knows what it means to risk everything. Fighting in the hope that if he remains in that fight long enough, tomorrow will be a better day for everyone. So let us take a bet on this Moses of our time, a man who led himself from the struggles, from the trenches, from the ghettos of Kamocha, and turned himself into a global success story. Let us take a bet on President Kyagulanyi and see if he won't lead our country into the Mecca of freedom and opportunity that we all yearn for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Marvin. That was very clear. Some of you are wondering, he told me he has read other parties' manifestos. When he put up a piece of paper, you saw nothing. In case you're wondering, it's just saying that other parties have nothing for you who stay in the diaspora. Thank you so much, Councillor Marvin, once again. We only have 2 people left, and perhaps these are the very important points we need to listen to. We were deliberate when we saved the best for the last. So we are going to have Miss Natavi Maria, the Dokoska. Some of you know the one, but it's a bit different. You just have to tilt it a little. Who is also a NEC member and one of our finest leaders from Eastern Uganda. Allow me to welcome her to present about the environment.
Thank you very much, Comrade Lawel. People power! Our power! Our power! People power! N.U.P. Everywhere! Kunga Uganda Kunga! I am by the name is Maria Ledokoska Natabi Kasukali Kabutembe Okubambi Kadobye Butembe. Era omubaka agemye bendera ya N.U.P Butembe mu Jinja district. Nino kutwala omukisa guno okwebaza Mr. President n'okwisusaayo Busoga. Weebale no weebalire irala tutulaga mukwano wasookera eka gye bakuzaala ebidaadaabo ebisoga. Weebale no. Today I'll be addressing priority area number 10, which talks about ensuring sustainable management of natural resources and climate resiliency. Mwidi bulungi nti tuli bagayiganga ewanga Uganda era President ayiyenga abakobera nti ebyobutonde ebyobugayiga bye tulina bingi ino abula obukulembeze bwe tulina n'obutali kubikozesa kimala kutubigayigawaza ife abanansi. And that is where the problem is. Our problem is leadership. Our problem are not resources, because we are endowed in all ways. Yes. However, we also have a challenge of climate change. Climate change has affected our natural resources in various ways. I understand climate change is a global challenge. However, there are things leaders are doing to ensure that this climate change does not affect their people as badly as it is affecting us. Mwena mwiti ntenda kudino tosobola ku planningira bya bulimi ng'osinziira ku maadi agali kutonda ag'obwerere Katonda g'abanga atuwadde. Olina okuteekateeka mu ngeri ey'enjawulo. Aye gavumenti enteviireeyo kutuwa bukugu obwo kuteekateeka bya bulimi byaife. N'ensonga lwaki ennaku dino endala nningi. People do not have food because of the food insecurity caused by the climate change okukyusa amaadi engeri gye gali kutondamu ate ng'awo tuli kusinziira. You also know climate change is affecting our natural resources and land use, especially with the wetlands. You've seen how landslides have also affected our people, especially in the mountainous areas. And you know very well how climate change has also led to the degradation of our biggest resource, which are the fertile soils. You also know that climate change does not only affect our social well-being, or does not only affect the environmental well-being of our country, but it affects our infrastructure development. Mubutambula muboina kunga amaadi gagwire wane Kampala mu kibuga kyaimwe kyemwete ekibuga. Amaadi bwe gagwa gasibira wa mu nguudo mu butale era na SSENTAMU wa Musolo Dedizinge. Therefore it is also taking us back. Awatema tutaire sente okukola ku ebitontoono byetulukusasulira mu SSENTAMU wa Musolo era amaadi gali kwongera okukola ki okubyonoona. Bw'olingirira n'ensansanya ya ssente gy'omuwi w'omusolo eri kweyongero lwa climate change. Inti saawa yona mwidda kubona di supplementary budget diri kwidda mu parliament olw'okuba waliwo disaster. Weebuuza tuli mu iwanga ki gavumenti eno tasobola kutyama ya planningira bulungi eiwanga lino omwaka mulamba. Tukoba inti landslide iwe nga government kwetuwe sente enyingi okulingirira ebintu by'emberi. You cannot forecast and mitigate such challenges and even include them in our budget. The problem of our country is not because we are under-resourced. The problem of this country is poor and bad leadership. And that is what the National Unity Platform is offering you through His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi SSENTAMU. An agile leader. Wala supplementary budget. Abulanga to the planning gira mugwire ebintu ebinaba bigwirewo ebyo tujabikola tutya. Tujja kunonenkereza tutegeere buli climate change weerigema okusobola okubonekanga tutegeera gavumenti kyerina okolawo nga kikaali kukola ki nga kikaali kubaawo. Era nga n'ekintu ekintu kyetujja kyetweta climate adaptation and mitigation mechanisms edendawulo era liri mu manifesto yaife enenungi imwe abaire bakalijisoma tulikoba tutya how are we going to adapt and mitigate the climate challenges we are facing. Ekisokera irala we are going to strengthen international climate financing and partnership. Nga bwe bakobye ekizibu kya climate change kiri global. Aye tutaira mu mbeera ki tusobola okukola n'abantu ab'amawanga agandi. Amawanga agandi galekera okutuwa esente olw'obugubuzi obuswise. Aye batunalaga nti esente abantu tujadikozesa bulungi. Ndibakoba nti mu climate change abantu baijja kukwatanalinga n'ife tusobola okubonekanga tukola ku bizibu ebiri kutuleetebwaku climate change. Ensonga ey'okubiri n'ensonga ey'oku adaptinga climate responsive budgeting framework. Eyo nekola etya kyembakobye nti twetaaga abakulembeze n'obukugu obujja okusoma embeera ng'ekaali kubaawo. Bwe tusoma embeera eyo ng'ekaali kubaawo twaba ni pulaani ekendeeza ku mbeera eyo etya bw'ejja okugwa ku bantu era twasobola n'okwinongola abantu sente daibwe we tuli kujja nga tebali kugigugulagugule. Ensonga ey'okusatu ni climate adaptation fund. Sente erijja okuyamba omuntu wa bulijjo okusobola okwenganga enembeera eya climate change oba amaadhi ganagali kugwa amangi entoba zide bali ku floods eziri kuwamba n'endala eri ku idolwa climate change era nga omwo tujja kubaamu n'esente ezijja okuyambaku okwakusesinga amaadhi imwe abalimi lwaki odanga okulinda amaadhi katonda gw'otayogere naye nti ajja kukuwa amaadhi ekyo ogalinde nga tigajja kwida nga mulina president wame his excellence Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ayi nti mulina enanda Victoria mulina enanda Kyoga mulina omuyiga nayo osobola okugamba n'ebintu bingi ayo olwobwire kambire kawo aye mujje musome please go and read this manifesto buli bwagisoma oba n'amaanyi gerina genitogokano kuba obona Uganda empya ensonga eyindi twenda okutaawo emirimu gye tweta green jobs ne climate smart enterprises nga bino tujja kusinziira mu bintu nga renewable energies obusibu climate change eno bwe buli kuvanga n'okuba nga tuli kukozesa bubi obutonde bwaife bane emiti tugimazeewo gena nga tuli kujja mu manda aye president waife yatukolye bw'anaafuuka president ati amasanalaze gajja kuba ga 5 ojja kuba weetaaga ki okujja okugula amanda gajja kuba gakuyamba ki ng'amasanalaze ga 5 ojja kufumbiranga kuki ku masanalaze aye ate waliwo n'ebintu twetanga solar energy akasana kano katwokyera bwereere nga tetuli kukakozesa kutoolamu maanyi gajja kutuyamba kufumba nakumulisa mayumba gaife lwaki tusula munzikizanga emisana tuba n'akasana akangi oti ni kano ensonga eyindi mbaire mu kidi nti eyekalamoja awazira amasanalaze wali yempewo tetusobola okufuula amasanalaze mubaire timukindi kuba gavumenti eno yabawudiisa yabalimba but I'm just saying, the people of Karamoja, the President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and his government is going to turn the wind that disturbs you into electricity to light your houses and give you electricity to cook and do all other things. Nga n'ensonga ey'okubonekanga tugema ku bintu ebijja okwiza obutonde bwaife okubuwa amaanyi sobola okubonekanga obutonde obwo ate bututaasa ebizibu bye tutasoboire kwetegekera bana kino ekintu mbaliriza nga mbakoba ekintu kirala bino ebintu bye tuli kusoma n'okuwandiika byona byona birungi aye tibidda kubaawo bwe kubanga timutwegaiseeko okubita mu kalulu okwekalakaasa akalulu okwekanaiza tujja tulonde tuzimbe Uganda empyaka nga tutiikinga manvuli bweri komanda nsooka Manifesto Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu era amasaba tubeere kiriya katonda abankumire era
Thank you so much. I told you I said you the best also at the last. I'm not with only one person, we went to them. However, after that person, we have an artist who I'm going to talk about now. And after that, we shall have Commander 001, the next president. The first of them to implement all this. I can't wait. That said, allow me to welcome the last person, Miss Precious. She's going to talk about technology. Uganda allow me to Miss Precious, the last person, to talk about a tech-driven economy. Thank you.
People power. Our power. People power. I know you're a little bit tired, but bear with me. People power. Our power. People power. N.U.P. Everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the energy we need to enter the new Uganda. Otherwise, we are stuck. So, I'm not a good speaker, and I have a challenge that I'm going to speak after someone with a lot of energy. So I hope I can keep up. So, abantu banje bambadira mwasira mutabasebo n'abanyago. Nanapina bayiza bwe kuja ngonyeka people power, our power. So I'm a true Ugandan. You're going to wonder why my name is Nalinya Bali Mutara Mumbeja Nenge Nakogero Runyankoli. Nze Nalinya Precious Julian Natendi ngenda kwogera mu Runyankole ebintu ebisinga kubanga nze ndi muna Uganda omutuufu. Kitegeeza ki tumulekeraawo okutwawulayawula ffe tuli banna Uganda nkimanyisa tuli abanya-Uganda. Mwakitenga ekyo? So today nza kubaningamba priority 11 eya technology. Nintumanya tulina abaana bingi abakozesa omutimbagano. Do you have TikTokers around? Yes. All of us. Yeah. And I'm sure all of you are holding your phones. Yeah. So this government understands that we are in the 21st century and understands that we are a young generation. So Ugandans cannot afford to be left behind in this technology era. Ekyo kimayisa government ya Kyagulanyi tekuza kusiga muntu wena nyuma. Nekibamu tulina kukozesa technology. So it's a priority money on technology. Priority 11 is transforming Uganda into a tech-driven economy through innovation. Why is this priority important? According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, trade lowers costs, creates jobs, expands markets, yet 30% of Africans actively participate in digital trade compared to 50% in Asia. Uganda's ICT only accounted for 0.5% of the total annual exports. Also, our internet costs about $2.6 per gigabyte, and it is the highest in the region. When you compare with other regions around us, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, our internet is the most expensive. What does this mean? It means we are not lacking potential. It means we are just limited by high internet costs, limited digital literacy, and weak policy frameworks for which, if we are to compete regionally and globally, these issues must be addressed. And the NUP government understood the assignment. 1. We are going to talk about digital infrastructure and connectivity. The NUP government will halve the cost of internet within 5 years by reducing data taxes, investing in regional internet, and will expand affordable broadband internet to every sub-region, prioritizing schools, healthcare, and trading centers, so that no community is left behind. Ekyo kimanyisa ki NUP eriyo neekira tulaalonde president wiitu tulateeka gavumenti ensya omuyinza nkimanyisa ngakutukendeereza omumyaka etano ekubanza ngakukendeeza intaneti by half nkimanyisa waba ogula data yawalwa nogigula aha shiigi 5 n'okutandika kugigula aha shiigi 25 ekyo kikumanyisa. Education and skilling development. To build a digital country, we must build a digital citizen. Nkimanyisa ki ekyo wano oyenda kukozesa technology olina okukozesa abantu okubala kikozesa. NUP government yatugiramu nekukwata buli ssomero akwebikayo mbarra nebakubateerayo computer labs. Tukuza kwetagisa kuga mbarra kuisha kwega kubiibiraho amasomero mubegesa computer. No. NUP government is saying you are going to have good equipped computer laboratories in your regions. Let's talk about health. The NUP government will transform healthcare delivery. It will roll out a national e-health system that includes electronic recording, telemedicine services, digital drug tracking to improve efficiency and access. Health workers will be trained in digital diagnostics and patients management, while data analytics will be used for epidemic preparedness, disease surveillance, targeted interventions, and this will ensure that quality health care reaches every corner. Wargo wanyu mbwarga owanyu bushenyi wisha Kampala nupe yonetira mtoka kutambula na basa zempa prezi no nekora system ngwisha no bwire bwawe no bugamba amazina gawe no tayo ID yawe nibamanya obwiro bukushasha kandi kumwana kuyatira ngozi zigo bije ekakumite bigire kuretaha obekwisha nwandu bamanya ko kabe kuziya kabata kuzimanya. So we are saying this data will help us to prepare and know abantu bambara bagwire munogo mfisha twakorech just so kwebuzabuza wabata kuzimanya. Agriculture. Of course, we all understand that agriculture remains the backbone of Uganda's economy, and technology can make it smarter and more productive. It will create a national digital agricultural platform that provides farmers with real-time weather updates, market prices, and extension services. The previous speaker talked about the uncertainty of weather, that we can't tell when it's going to rain or when it's not going to rain. But the new government is saying, no, our dear farmers, with technology, we can tell you when it's going to rain, when it's going to shine, and we can actually tell you that you can take your things in a certain market. Nchimanyisa, mtokuza kuwasa kutokuza kuina mshana kwaka, owenshura kubwa for you to plant. No, niwa kuhereza service asumi yawe kugambira unomanya amateka awe no katwaro mukatarikananga ekintu zakuzahari. So they are going to make our lives easy. Then governance and public service, digital transformation also must reach the government itself. We will digitalize key public services, including licenses, land titles, taxes, health records to improve efficiency and accountability. And of course, we will have an e-procurement system that will be introduced to curb corruption and save public funds. Mchimanya ababibe Uganda babira nnyo ku kino n'ogenda okufuna ID ne bakusaba ssente empitirivu n'ogenda okunoonya land title yo nga tomanyi weeri. So NUP government is saying, no, we are going to put these things very much available to you and near to you through technology. Ng'omuntu tateekeddwa kujjako nguzi okumanya details z'ekibanja kyo oba land title yo weeri. Let me talk about economy and innovation. To expand digital access, we will cut access on smartphones, computers, internet devices, and then of course there will no promises to fund small startups in agribusiness. Of course, this is important for those who are worried that they are removing. I heard rumors on internet, and I'm so good at internet, and I'm always there. For those who know me, there was a rumor saying, NUP wants to scrap off. What is this thing we say is talking these days? PDM, yes. And so don't get worried. The NUP is saying we are going to create a fund for agribusinesses, for the youth who have small businesses to start up, not to give money to some random person who eats the money and then random people are paraded as though they were funded. Last but not least, of course, as we talk about digitalization, it is important to talk about the national security and digital rights. The NUP government promises to expand digital opportunities. We will also make sure digital safety. NUP will strengthen cybersecurity capacities to combat fraud, hacking, online crimes, and of course teach enforcement and judiciary. Enforcement and the judiciary will be trained to handle cyber crimes cases effectively. We also run public campaigns and data protection, because we know recently there was a saga, an investigation that was conducted by BBC about human trafficking And this criminal had access to our data, and everyone kept asking the same question: how did this criminal have access to our NERA data? Because he gets all the information from NERA. And of course, as usual, this question was never answered. But the NUP government is saying, we are going to protect your data, we are going to protect you from hackers, we are going to protect you from online harassment and anything in between. How will this be done? They intend how will this be done? Of course, they don't want to silence dissent, but they want to ensure space remains free and safe and productive. Because this is important. We know the young Ugandans are earning off the internet, but somehow the dictator, who is, of course, the 21st century leader, is stuck in the 18th. I don't know if there is a 16th. Thinks that it is okay to take off Facebook, which was feeding people are connecting, and of course we live in a global village, so this is very important that we connect. So in conclusion, a tech-driven Uganda is not just a dream, it is a deliberate and achievable voice. A Uganda where a farmer can check prices on their phone, a patient consults a doctor online, a student learns coding in their rural areas, and a person earns global income in their village. Under the new Uganda now, technology will not just be a tool, but it will be an engine, transformation, opportunity, prosperity, and together let us push Uganda into the digital future. People power, our power, people power. Thank you so much for listening to me. Abantu bambanda numayecho kukora abantu bantungamo Western people omulumo kiine kumwe konka. For so many years nbagira ngwito tuliche konka inactions tukubi. So tulichire twaja mturukuri president nito tulie nyuma yao.
Thank you so much. Precious, I think that was elaborate. Maybe what you need to take home from what she has said is that the cost of internet is going to be low, which means the way that we are TikTok, we are going to say, manifesto and part of the internet. And I think what I want to add is that one of the controversial things that have come from that manifesto point is that we shall deliver medicine where you are. And often these things seem ambitious, but when we just cross to Rwanda, we have programs where drones can deliver medicine. You don't have to go through traffic to access that medicine. I think what you also saying is that if we can expand internet connectivity, because once you step out of Kampala and go to neighboring districts, internet. But if we can do that, it means that we give you an opportunity to innovate and to do all these other things. But also I think there's a lot of willingness that people want to invest in young tech ideas. If we can pacify this country, make internet easy, a lot of investment will come in. So we have come to the end of the presentation. On the priority areas, I will ask each of us to clap for our able panel. If anyone tells you that they have not understood the N.U.P manifesto, either they were not paying attention today or they don't want to read. And like the lawyers already say, ignorance is not a replacement of absence of facts, so ignorance is not defense. So anyone who says that they don't believe that a new Uganda will fundamentally change this country will be lying. And they're not talking about fundamental failure. There are people who have used that word and it no longer makes sense. The only evidence we have is that people now think things can't change fundamentally. But we have guaranteed you today and we have showed you what is in it for you. So before we have an artist, I will ask each of us to humble ourselves. We have colleagues who have been in prison. We know them now as political prisoners. One of them wrote a letter to us, and he said we need to pass on his communication. So I'll ask each of us to pay attention and listen to what he has to say. He's called Mayuge Rally. On 2nd October 2025, he wrote this letter, and this is what he said. Greetings all Ugandan masses, foot soldiers. I write this from Luzira Upper Prison. He says, we take this opportunity to send our message to all foot soldiers across the country. First of all, we thank our President, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Mayuge, bobiwine, for always standing with us in all situations we go through, and we do thank all our leaders who visit us in prisons. We kindly thank those who help our families and always attend our court trials. We really appreciate you for the courage that you give us. A message to all foot soldiers: we are in prison, but we have no hope that we can join you in person. We have our hope in you. We respect you, brothers and sisters. We are praying for you in this campaign struggle. We are updated in all campaign areas that you go through, and our flag bearers of national people from across the country. We request you to please do whatever you can to bring justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity in Uganda. As we continue with this started, empowered, and recharged struggle for a new and better Uganda, we join Mr. President His Excellency bobiwine by reminding you always remain focused, be sober, protect each other from a dictator, and let Ugandans be mindful of brothers and sisters who lost their lives in this struggle. Think of us who are in prison. Think of those who are still missing and are in exile. Because of this struggle, please don't give up to fight against the dictator and his government. We remind you that we are struggling for freedom, against dictatorship, against poverty, unemployment, injustice, corruption, and embezzlement. Hence, restoring a new Uganda. Let's avoid bribes, gifts, and obstruction from our enemies. Please love each other and stop using the fellow comrades for individual gains to our enemies. Please be strong to fight the autocratic government. We are smelling change, but the change can only come from working hard. And we can't change the past, but we can change the future. So let's work hard in the campaign. We wish you a blessed journey in these campaigns. Remember that every word in this campaign means war. May Allah give you courage and strength to overthrow the autocratic government. May Allah give you the gift of knowledge and make the best decision for this country, Uganda. And he says, people power, people power, let's fight for new Uganda. He shares this message to everyone, and please translate it in different languages countrywide. He says he thanks you, Mayuge Rally, political prisoner from Uganda Upper Prison. Mayuge speaks for all the people that have been in prison for just sticking to their conscience and failing to give in to this government which seeks to deprive them of a conscience which is supposed to be a God-given right that they can exercise. Having said that, I'm going to welcome an artist who of us have known. His name is Bobiwine Nalokaya.
N.U.P. This is Bobiwine Nalokaya. Animasi, come. That's the bar, right? See? Let's go. Come. No matter what the situation, no matter what the situation, no matter what kind of tension, no matter what you depend on tension, no matter what the situation, no matter what the situation, no matter what kind of tension, no matter when you depend on tension, everyone starts from one, just to make it up to be number one. Then start from zero, and we see them to zero. You gonna set up and I'm gonna make it up. Yes, I'm not taking up me up in my shit up. N.U.P. Everywhere. People power. Our power. And it is so to be done, Dalababa. Come on. Don't put it in the Dalababa. Kitina Sawandara. We know your power. We know your car. We know your car. Come on. We know your castle. Yo. Atakaima kama wafuruka. Wakaita wafuruka orini. Usini. Aha. Women. Select the baby. Aha. So listen to me carefully. Adios. Ufuruka ni muri kabuye mukona na muri mupi. Amaksika koma sala ye.
mubi bakuye kola boli mubi abakusinga ko basala gero bana bamubi bakachira kakuri bali banje mubi yuba bata jibat mai kugera diketo amasma batu bizejo katiwa chitowa yuba no sinte bonye bakola bebari chawa etako bizejo amasma batu bakupata kulawa sekaino bakuki bakabra tabra bantu tele kabra sala bantu kukunya abantu tele nyamula abantu chikusa bantu batani hamusambe bantu chukela bakusomera bantu kukunya bibubi kukunya kola boli mubi abakusita kola sala gero bana mamubi bakachira kakuri bali bajo bibubi bali mubi bali mubi kukuri bali mubi kukunya kola boli mubi abakusita kola sala gero bana mamubi bakachira kakuri bali bajo bibubi. Listen to me again. When I get up, I'm a snap and tell me that you're party magic over. You cannot sit there with the record of the very shower. But I come here, we say, I'm a snap and tell me that you're sometimes you're a kuchawa. But I'm not a love and tell you that you're a love and tell you that you're a tell you that you're a love and she goes around to tell you how to sound a man to follow up with some level. N.U.P. Everywhere. Tetuina sawa ndala chibizi kandamba. Tetuina chi. Tetuina chi. Nana chi. Nana yesawa. Usaja bugenda baba.
Maybe what I want to say is that in a national platform, we are very spiritual as well. We believe in God, we believe in Allah, and He's the one who has brought us this far, and He's going to be with us in a new Uganda. Allah will welcome, I like her so much, Allah will welcome Honorable Namboze to give us a scripture.
People power, our power, people power. The president, omusajja katabungiye wenna kama uli naye nga bumanyi sitatafu okujjako nga firimu egenda kuggwa. Mukama wange president, tiimu gye ndabye wano nebaziza Katonda. Ndabye abaana wano abateeka ensonga mu ddiiro ate ng'olaba bazitegeera. President nekusanyukirako nnyo n'eri bannayuganda nemanya nti tiimu ekola mulimu oyo. Yesu Kristo naye bwe yajja mu nsi muno n'asuubiza ensi empya. Kati bwe yasuubiza ensi empya nabali ne bagyesunga. Olunaku lumu gamba munaavunenanye ti olunaku lumu Yesu yali atuddawo ng'agomba muwulira ebigambo ebikulu ebirungi ebinaabeera mu nsi ki empya. Ate engeri Yesu ye gye yagenda awo osobola otunuulirawo Kyagulanyi nga bamaze okatabbira ebigambo ebingi bwe bityo nga byonna bya nsi ki Bayibuli egamba bweti. Nsomye mu Matayo essula 24 okutandikira ku lunyiriri olwokusatu. Yesu bwe yali ng'atudde ku lusozi lw'emiti emizayituuni, abayigirizwa ne bajja waali mu kyama ne bagamba nti tubuulire ebyo biribaawo ddi era kabonero kyakalaga okujja kw'ensi eyo. Yesu n'addamu nti mwerinde waleme kubaawo bababuzaabuza, kubanga bangi balijja nga bayita nga beeyita nti Yesu naye balina bababuzaabuza. Muliwulira entalo wano nawali, mwerinde kweraliikirira. Ebyo biteekwa okubaawo naye ekiseera kiriba kitandika butandisi. Eggwanga erimu lirumba eggwanga eddala, n'obwakabaka bulirumba obwakabaka,
walibaawo enjala n'okukankana kw'ensi mu bitundu bingi, naye olwo okubonaabona kuli bakutandika butandisi. Mmwe bali bakwata ne babavaayo ne mubonyaabonyezebwa, era n'abamu ku mmwe mulittibwa. Abantu bonna balikyawa mmwe olw'okuba muli bagoberezi b'oyo. Olwo bangi ne bayiteremuka. Walibaawo n'ababalyamu enkwe, era bali bakyawaganya, n'abalanzi ab'obulimba balirabika ne baba babuzaabuza olw'obujeemu okuyinga obungi. Okwagala kw'abamu kuliwola, naye oyo aligumira ebizibu okutuusa ku nkomerero yalirokolebwa. Era amawulire amalungi agava ku Bwakabaka galitegeezebwa abantu munsi yonna okuba obujulirwa eri amawanga gonna, olwo ensi eyo n'eryoka etuuka. Mukama yo
ekibuuzo kiri kuligete wetegese. At this point in time, allow me welcome, and I cannot get this opportunity when the government starts. But before we welcome the president, let us have another artist to set the stage for the ultimate president of this country. Thank you.
N.U.P. Everywhere.
abasinga nsubira kakuseka abasinga kuteranye tulabugayo wambuze ekibuuzo muddamu Kyagulanyi
oba tukakolemuko kakolemukulembeze waffe kakati kibuuzi gyebale juzi president wa America yali ali kulaale
Kyagulanyi yabadde kwalizirira naye yali
kati by'Amerika
kati babirika nze mumulika tulya mu Uganda. Yes.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you guys that where we have come from as a country is very bad. We have all suffered. We all have the robots that Stacey was talking about. We all have siblings who can't find jobs. We all have friends who have been arrested for the last 5 years for just speaking the truth. But the good news is this is all coming to an end under the new government, under the leadership of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi. Allow me to take this opportunity therefore to invite our able President, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Mayuge.
N.U.P. everywhere.
Thank you very much for that word. I want to salute my fellow artists, Figo and your friend. I want to salute another revolutionary artist, Siwa in Narukalana. Man, you're bad. Many times I feel glad to share the wine name with you. Very talented young man. You remind me of Buju Banton. You remind me of Bob Marley. You remind me of Sizzla Kalonji. You remind me of Capleton. All those artists that many of us grew up watching and aspiring to be like, believed in one common thing, equal rights and justice. They believed in freedom for all people, especially the black people, the African people. So, if you see a Rasta man posing around with dreadlocks but not believing in equal rights and justice, that is not Rasta, that is rascalat. So I salute you, my brother. We bali nakubulira abavubuka. Kikulu nnyo abavubuka omuntu akabulira ne bawulira yoyo omuvubuka ngabo yoyo ayise waje bayise. We bali bajjukiza nti okubeera omuntu omubi tekikufuula wakabe. Milako will put it straight that bad man and bad man is two different things. Can't mix them in with the two of them. I so much appreciate the drama team from the School of Leadership for the skit that you presented here. Thank you very much. In this our struggle, music, dance and drama will always carry a center stage. It has been music, dance and drama, creativity and poetry. It's been art that has liberated people right from the days of slavery, through colonialism, through dictatorship. And it's what's going to carry us through. So we salute that area. We salute you, Comrade Nobiandi, Celeste Levi, na mwenye wakwataganya area mwebali nyo mwebali edara.
I also want to sympathize with Dr. Nalukwago. Dr. Nalukwago, we listen to you. Tukusaziranga wanabane N.U.P. Dr. Nalukwago lata tubiri yate N.U.P. zamurumira mudwaliri iri mukyalo ng'agenze mu toilet. Walaba nnyo munanze manya N.U.P. Zali zinumyeko nze zannumira nno ku muti gwa muyembe zannuma poliisi nemala wiiki namba nga linnuma naye kati gwe nkubamu akafaananyi wazakulumyewa naye tukusalira munange wadde ozakulumye before oba after I want to salute the comrades that have presented today. Comrade Owen, the young man, the intelligent young man that you are, and the way you present it gives me hope, gives me confidence that the young people of this generation are actually seeing through the curtain that has been put before our eyes. They're seeing the future. They're seeing the promised land. They're seeing the new Uganda. I want to appreciate the policy team that has been able to clearly paint a picture for us. Very eloquent young men and women, very passionate young men and women, very imaginative young men and women. At least we are able to see the Uganda we want, the Uganda we're aspiring for, and indeed the Uganda that we must achieve. I have no doubt that the picture of that new country is now clearer. We see where we want to go. We are not just what Mao loves to call Agende. Yes, we are Agende. Why no Agenda? He is the roadblock between us and our future. But we've said it before and I want to reassert it again, that we're not only fighting to liberate ourselves, we are fighting to carry ourselves beyond liberation. We are fighting to be able to paint our own destiny. And I'm very glad that for these 2 or 3 hours, these young people have been they've been able to clearly paint a picture. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not my ideas as an individual. No, these are ideas of numerous young men and women. These are ideas of the young generation, young Ugandans from across Uganda. Look at them. From the north to the west, to the east, to the south and central. This is Uganda summarized. These ideas and ideas, they represent all of us. They represent both our pain and our aspiration. They represent the aspirations of a new generation. These thoughts and presentations, ladies and gentlemen, they represent a generation that refuses to be defined by the fear and the hate and the hopelessness that has been imposed on us. Fear has been imposed on us. We fear each other. Hate has been imposed on us. We've been taught to hate each other. We've been conditioned to feel helplessness, to feel helpless, to believe that we can't go past here. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters, for making it clear that we have a future that is tangible, a future that is a future that we are going to achieve. And I also want to add my voice on yours in the affirmative that we are indeed going to build a new country for ourselves and our children. We are going to build that country for ourselves, by ourselves. I might be the one leading, and I've told you this before, that I don't present myself to lead this struggle, this charge for a new Uganda, because I'm the most educated or most qualified. I present myself because it is a calling, just like every one of you. But nothing gives me confidence to see that behind me there's quality. Behind me, there are young men and women. Them is very qualified, very knowledgeable, well-traveled, passionate about a new Uganda. We have young doctors here, we have young lawyers here, we have journalists, we have people from all walks of life. And yes, we have people like myself and Nubian who are artists. We have people like Eddie Mutwe. We have people like Zambari.
Zambari.
Zambari Mukono. So it is possible, ladies and gentlemen. I have no doubt that it's possible. But I was moved even deeper by the presentation of Maria Lebechoska-Natavi, who put it clearly that these are just dreams. Brothers and sisters, these are but just dreams. This is but just an imagination, a dream that we can either achieve but also can fail to achieve. This is a dream that we can get, but this is a dream that we can also fail to achieve and keep dreaming about it if we don't take the necessary steps. Over a few years ago, I've learned that in life you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate for. In fact, you get what you fight for, not what you deserve. But brothers and sisters, again I want to tell you that what we deserve, what you deserve, is worth fighting for. Yes, it does. What do we have to do then? Let's do the necessary. Step number one, start by magnifying this, by amplifying this. I like that this has been presented precisely but clearly. It's right here. This is what we want to bring to Uganda. When we say Museveni agende kubalemeza obino. What you have to do as a citizen, number one, is to help further paint this picture to all and sundry. Anybody that you get close to, let them understand that we are past the mobilization area. We are in the sensitization and making sure that everybody gets us clearly. Understand what we are fighting for. Understand what we are risking for. Explain it to your friends, to your family, to your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband. Explain it to your friends. Explain it whenever you have an opportunity. To you, our leaders, especially those that are running to office. And I like that the skit made it very clear. Don't promise people rice, because we are not going to give rice in the new Uganda. Promise what we are going to give as a government. In the new government, you're going to be serving under the National Unity Platform. And this that I'm promising, you are going to be responsible to deliver to your constituents. This is going to be government policy, and all leaders are going to be charged with this. So explain it to people so that people know exactly what to demand from you when we are in power. Make it clear. Make our manifesto your talking points when you go to speak. Don't promise people warranty. Let's be different from those that we are fighting against. And further, we request you to simplify it even more in your languages. Make it understandable. Simplify it further. Those of you that are on social media, please help us. Share these on your social media handles. We've been saying that phone is a very powerful tool. Please lend it to Uganda. Lend your TikTok account to Uganda, your Facebook account, your Twitter account, all platforms that you can. Show people what Uganda can achieve. Support the N.U.P or the N.U.P candidate. At least let every young Ugandan understand what Uganda can turn into. And then we can decide who takes us there. I've already shown you that me, I have the law to take you there. But at least let us first understand where we want to go as a country. Let's understand the kind of country that we want. And then we will find the courage to take the first, second, and more steps towards that Uganda that we want to get to. So, help us. Push it. I know we have different talents. Those that can animate it. Break it down, simplify it, let even a young child of 5-6 years understand the kind of country that we want, because we are not going to stop. I told you a few weeks ago that we are not going to wait to celebrate when we get there. We shall celebrate along the way. Even knowledge of what we want to achieve is victory enough. Let us celebrate it and then keep moving towards it. So break it down for those people, make it understandable. Then another thing I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, organize, organize, organize. Send this message down to the common people. Build teams, Zitwaite Gari. Build teams, let them go door to door, not just asking for a vote, but painting a picture of what people are voting for. I want people to know what they are voting for. So organize, go to your constituencies, you the leaders. I really love your company on the campaign trail, but I request you to spend more time in your constituencies. Go there, don't wait for me to come to your constituency with you. While we turn the nation upside down, turn your constituency upside down, and organize, organize, organize. Identify polling agents, identify people who will help us at every step of this democratic revolution. Muzimbe Gari. Also, while at it, please identify alternative means of communication. We all know the Museveni kind of election, and I'm sure he thinks that he is bringing his usual nonsense in this election. So, think ahead. We all know what these people are planning. Think ahead. You know they're going to switch off the network. You know they're going to switch off the internet. Plan ahead. Find alternative ways of communication so that we are in touch as a nation. We are entering a very critical phase of this revolution. So I charge you to go and find different ways. Sit down, find the midnight candle. From discussion groups. You never know. Maybe your small group has the idea that will liberate us. So work together, build together, and let us do it, because I know we are going to do it. This, ladies and gentlemen, many people hear us. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We are going into a risky time, but we can choose to see it from two different perspectives. From one side, you can look at it as a risk, and from the other side, you can choose to look at it as an opportunity. So, let's make the brave choices. Like I said, they hear us singing, when the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. What is that victor's crown? That is the one. What they just explained here. The first 11 and more will come when the struggle is over, when we defeat General Museveni and his corrupt regime. So, ladies and gentlemen, in that new Uganda, make it clear to the people what they are voting for. They are not voting for Kyagulanyi, the individual. They are voting Kyagulanyi, who represents that. They are not voting for N.U.P, the political party. They are voting for N.U.P, which represents that. That is exactly what they are voting for. Anybody that is taking the umbrella, that is what you are voting for. Anybody that is risking, that is what you're risking. Anybody that is fighting, that is exactly what you're fighting for. You're not fighting for money to be put in your pocket. You're fighting for a better country. We look at you as leaders. So when you're going to prison, our brothers that are in prison, and many of us that might go to prison, that is what we are going to prison for. For those that will be tortured, even those that will be killed, that is what we are dying for. And I have good news, my brothers and sisters. Whether you are fighting, that is worth fighting for. Whether you're going to prison, it is worth going to prison for. Even dying, this is worth dying for, because we are doing this for our children and our children's children. We are doing it because the alternative is slavery. And me as an individual, and I believe all of you, or most of you, would rather die than be slaves on the land of your forefathers and foremothers. I can guarantee you that at the end of this, your children will be in charge of their country. They will be able to paint their own destiny. These young men and women, and all those among you, this is a young Uganda. Uganda, a Uganda that is not a laughing stock among nations. That is a Uganda that we are going to get, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate those that are already involved, especially those that we are moving with on the campaign trail, and those that are moving, those that are working on social media, those in the diaspora that save their working hours to work for Uganda, to send a message for Uganda. You're doing a tremendous job. We really, really appreciate you. I want to appreciate our comrades, especially the foot soldiers, for the discipline. Please clap for yourselves. The discipline that you're exercising on your own selves, and the discipline that you're exercising on the road. Many times I look behind and I feel so proud of the team that we're working for. So disciplined on the road, so kind to the people, so that come to support us, the vulnerable people, the women and children. Thank you very, very much. Once more, I want to again request you to look out for our people. Like I said, on this trail you won't be protecting me, but each other and those that come to support us. Please continue protecting them. We have not seen many cases of thugs stealing funds from our supporters. I've told you this before, that the regime had an effort of planting thugs among us so they can spoil our name. It is our duty to protect our people, and we shall do a good job protecting our people. I warned the criminals, I warned them, I want to warn them again. Demokola era, nemoloza timoja mufe, kubabandu bafe, wabakoi moja kutia. Us. I want to confirm to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are not going to give up. And you cannot defeat people that don't give up, especially when they are younger than you. We are younger than the Museveni regime. We are older than them. We are more determined, and we shall not give up. I can guarantee you that in the end, everything will be all right. And if everything is not all right, then it will not be the end. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Ngeri omusana gye gwako ennyo ne bwesiriza mu Luganda. Abemukono bagambe mbizeeko ne mu Luganda. Abasebo ne bannyabo, tusiima nnyo ttiimu yaffe eya polisi, abaami n'abakyala ab'emyaka emito naye nga bagezi nnyo ate nga baagala nnyo ensi yaabwe. tubebaza nnyo olw'okutusigira ekifaananyi ekya Uganda empya. Nkakasa kati bantu batono nnyo kabe kasinge nga tebali nawo abatategeera kirooto kya Uganda empya. Kati ffenna tumanyi kye tuyayanira, tumanyi exactly kye twagala okuteekawo. Tuli basanyufu nnyo ti abantu abatutotoledde abatemeetemye mu bisuubizo byaffe bya Uganda empya bava mu bitundu bya Uganda byonna. Eno kyekino ekifaananyi ekya Uganda, abava mambuka, abava ebuvanjuba ne bugwanjuba, abava mu masekati ne maserengeta, bonna bakiikirira ebirooto n'ebyayanirwa eby'omugigi omuto ebya Uganda empya, Uganda ejjudde amasanyu, Uganda gye tukakasa nti tulina okufuna mu bulamu bwaffe, Uganda gye tukakasa nti tulina okusala amagezi gonna tugifune omwaka ogujja mu kutema mu bigambo ebitonotono mu myezi 3. Tubebaza olw'ekifaananyi kye mutusiigidde, kubanga kyongedde okulaga nti ddala yeffe bali bwe bayogerako. Kuba mwawulira Haji Hussein Kyanjobe yayogerangako generation ege yeffe, nga syeggwanga teyabagamba nga yeffe, ne mu byawandiikibwa wona mpozi ebyasomye yeffe. Yeffe twagaana okutuumibwa oba okuumibwa mu busibe oba obukyayi oba okutya n'oba obutaba na ssuubi. Ffe twasalawo ebiseera byaffe eby'omu maaso tubiteeke mu ngalo zaffe, kulwaffe, olw'abazadde baffe, naye okusingira ddala ku lw'abaana baffe. Era nga tubakakasa ensi tugenda gizimba baganda bange. Bino byonna bye mulabye ebimu badde mu Luzungu, ebirala mu Luganda, naye bijja kutuukawo. Neera nga mwanyinaffe n'attabire Dokyosika okuva e Busoga e Butembe bwatugambye nti bino byonna bikyali birooto, bino byonna bikyali biteeberezo, bino byonna ssuubi, bino birooto. Naye era njagala mmanye nti bino birooto bye tusobola era bye tukolerera okutuukako mu bbanga eritali lyawala. Naye nga bwemukuba engalo zammwe njagala mumanye nti era bino bye birooto bye tusobola okulemwa okutuukako. Tusobolera ddala okulemwa okubituukako singa tetukola kituufu. Ekituufu kye kiruwa? Ekituufu basebo ne bannyabo kwe kumanya nti mulamu tofuna ekyo ky'osaanidde kufuna. Nedda, ofuna ekyo ky'okayaniridde kabe kasinga ekyo ky'olwaniridde. Emirimu gye bagenda kuleetera wakaafu soosiyo, oba toli mu matiko osaana okangule ku poisiyo, sigala ku poosiyo, era manya lwaityo. Tolema kolerera Uganda bwezimba nkwangalemu wadde nga soosiyo eyali wa choisiyo, Uganda nkwangalemu nkwangalyo. Bannange, ekirooto kino tusobolera ddala okulemwa okukifuna singa tetukoze ekituufu. Eky'omukisa omulungi, ekituufu tukimanyi baganda bange. Era ekituufu osaba tutandike okikola mbagirawo. Okusookera ddala mbasaba mwenna bannayuganda, si bakulembeze bokka, naye buli munnayuganda olifuule katalaalyo, ogufuule mulimu gwo okutemaatema manifesto eyo, okutemaatema ebigendererwa bya NUP, obinnyonnyole buli muntu gwosobola okutuukako. Tandikira ku bazadde bo, odde ku mwagalwawo, odde ku baana bo oba mikwano gyo, ab'ekinywi kyo b'okola nabo, oba bonna b'otuukako. Osobola okikola mu buntu, osobola n'okozesa social media yo. Mutuyambe mu kimaking clear, abantu balabe kye balwanirira. Bw'oba omanyi gy'olwanirira kizibu okusa omukono, bw'oba olengera gy'olaga bannange kizibu okupondoka n'ogwamu amaanyi. Abantu mubalage gye tulaga, bamanye nti tetuli kino mawo kyayagala okuyita nti abo bagamba just Museveni must go. Yes, Museveni must go, but after Museveni goes, our job will just have begun. Museveni mwanaagenda, omulimu gwaffe gujja kuba gwakatandika. Awo tutereze Uganda empya. So tubasaba mukinnyonnyola abantu, nammwe abali ku social media tuzenga tubasaba, era twongera okubasaba baganda bange, buli ayagala ensiye waakiri waayo vidiyo emu oba post emu oba edakika 10 buli lunaku kulw'eggwanga lyo mwabali mu Uganda n'abali ebweru wa Uganda tugezaako okuzimba ya Uganda empeya buli omu era buli omu alina omulimu. Olina abantu abakuwuliriza bayinza okuba 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, mutwalo bawe obubaka buno tuyambe okimenyemenye mu ngeri yo mu lulimi lwo mu sitayiro yo mu ngeri yo yonna yonna omekinga ekiwa nti abantu bakutegeera. Njagala okusinziira wano tulina omu ku baganda baffe omuyimbi Nakinku Honorable Walukagga. Njagala okusaba ssebo taliwo wano naye nkakasa gyali ampulira. Njagala kusaba ssebo manyi toyiya ne bayiiya tetwafirwa ababasudde atisi gwe twakusigaza kusaba okoleyo n'akayimba akakodongo kamu otemeeteme Uganda empya nga bwigenda okuba temakuma Uganda empya n'abantu bewaffe nabo bamanye abantu bangi nnyo tebalaba bino, abantu bangi nnyo tebawulira luzungu, abantu bangi nnyo ne betwogera bibagoba naye bwe mubitematema mwe ba comedians mwe ba artists mutemeteme Uganda empya abantu balabe kye balwanirira. Abantu balekere abo kamba balwanirira Kyagulanyi oba balwanirira N.U.P bamanye kye balwanirira ne bwaba Kyagulanyi naye amanye nti alina kyalwanirira asobole nawa walaga awasalewo ayagala kusigala wano oba ayagala genda wali tukimenyemenye abantu batutegeere bulungi nnyo abakulembeze nadamu abesimbyewo temukyasobola gamba nti temumanyi byagamba abantu temusuubiza abantu katogo temukulira abantu mwenge temusuubiza kuwa abantu sente abantu mwabapoloote nga mulina n'obujulizi mubalage kyetwagala okubawa kyekino kyakabi okusinga bucolo bwe babasaba ate nkakasa bajja kubategeera awulidde bulungi. So mumenyemenye manifesto yaffe buli wa N.U.P oba oli M.P oba oli meya eno ne manifesto yokotandikira ebirala ebiri detailed buyongereza okwo naye abantu mubalage nti tugenda kola nga government tegenda kubeera ngene ya Museveni egunkumuka tugenda kolera wamu. This is going to be government policy. Eno egenda okuba enkola ya gavumenti betugenda okulubirira era buli mukulembeze kulevo yonna yonna enjiri gye tukusaba ogende owe abantu. Era njagala kusinzira wano n'okubasaba abakulembeze bannange nsanyuka nnyo nga tutambula ku campaign trail era temulekera okumperekera naye njagala obudde obusinga mubumale mu constituency zammwe musisinkane abantu mubasaba akalulu nete mubasaba busabi kalulu mubalage gye tugenda mmwe wano temuli bakandidati kubanga bino si bya bulijjo mwe muli bakomanda muli baduumizi ate mmwe abatuuze abali eyo temulowooza nti olwokuba waliwo komanda ali politiko timwe temuli komanda nammwe twabo bawa muli bakomanda kati njagala bakwate nga tebalina gwe bakwata nga tebalina gwe bakwata bakwata onono abayita mu nkwawa kwekyo bwe kiba kirina okubeera. Njagala okubasaba abakulembeze bwe mugeze mu constituency zammwe muteeketeeke tiimu zammwe zibakubira campaign muzinnyonnyole. Nabadde eyo ku drive nendaba omwana ndowooza Honorable Hassan Kirumira yamuleese ali ludda oyo omwana omwana oyo mumpereyo omutwalo ojja kummanja. Nawulidde omwana ng'agenda annyonnyola ebintu for a minute webale nnyo ssebo webalire ddala for a minute nga simanyiza ayogera naye ate ndi mu mmotoka. So abaana bano abato bali amangi wetulirewo naye bwojja mulaba olabika tulina muna mutwalo. Eyo yeba enjiri gye tubuulira ku zi drive zaffe ku mikolo gye mugenda buli wamu abantu tubalage ekifaananyi kye twagala ng'eggwanga. Understanding muzimbe egaali ezo ze ziba zikola campaign zigende door to door mugende door to door obudde bukyaliwo mutuukirire buli muntu nfuba okulaba nga ntuuka kuli bantu kubanjagala tugenda okulonda nga njogedde ne miliyoni ezitaka wansi wa 20 ez'abantu nawe njagala making sure wakiri 80% walonzi abeewammwe oyogedde nabo so mugende mukonektinge n'abantu bamanye kibino bya ddala si byo ebyokulondalonda mubiri nga Museveni byabadde nga amanyi era mukozese nekino ekiseera okwidentifyinga aba polling agents abagenda okuuma akalulu kaffe tuleme kutuuka ku kiri ekiseera nga temubategeera kati mubeekennenye gwolabamu ng'alimu ebitege teekawo omulala obudde bukyaliwo mweteeketeeke wano wetugenda wewali wennyini we bayogerako njagala n'okubasaba mufune engeri ez'enjawulo ez'okuwuliziganyaamu mukimanyi bulungi nnyo okulonda nga Museveni yakulembera eggwanga saagala tutandike kwekanga mu intaneti bagijeko badde tomanyi tebagenda gijjako netwaka bazijeko badde tomanyi tebagenda giteekako bagijjako kati mutandike kati agenda okusalako intaneti nga tumugamba twakulinda toluddeyo nogijjako mufune engeri ez'enjawulo ez'okukwataganamu mwetegekere kano akalulu tuyingira mu phase gye bayita eyakanayo kyani mu kano akalulu yes igenda kubayiraliikiriza kwano bwe batandikira okusiba abantu waisu ali mukomera edimuntu ali mukomera akirewo ali mukomera Gaddafi ali mukomera Bobi ali mukomera Smart ali mukomera n'abalala kubanga bo ye blueprint yaabwe kati mukwateko abamwetolodde simanyani gwe baddako okusiba droni zeetala kana akaseera katiisa naye tulina choice tulina ekyokusalawo kana akaseera tukatunulire nga tuyimiridde ku ludda ki olw'okutya oba olw'essuubi kuba oyimirira ku ludda olw'okutya olaba buzibu bokka na bulabi bokka naye osalawo okukana akaseera okalabira ku ludda olw'essuubi olaba mumukisa olaba we tumukubira engwalo olaba we tumutendulira so nze mbasaba tutunulire opportunity tutunulire omukisa gwe tulina ekyomukisa omulungi tumanyi ki kye tulwanirira tetuyimba bulijjo nti olutalo nga luwedde tuliyambala engule gye twawogerako si yakwambala ku mutwe kugenda ng'emasamasa engule gye twogerako yeeno ye Uganda empya gyetugenda okuzimba engule eyo bweba obuyinza n'omukisa gwe tugenda okubanga tufunye omukisa gwe tusaba bannayuganda yonna gye twetoloola gwenkakasa nti bagenda gutuwa omukisa ogwo bwe bagutuwa tubalage Uganda empya bwefaanana abantu bamanye nti bagenda okulonda tagenze kulonda James Mubiru nedda tagenze kulonda Nubianri nedda tagenze kulonda Mwanga Kigombi oba Malende nedda agenze kulonda Uganda empya amanye nti ne bwaba nga bamukwatiya gasi ku lwekyo ajja kuguma ne baba bamusiba mukomera lwekyo kyakiririzaamu ajja kuguma ne baba batutemula nga tugamba kino it is something worth fighting for, worth risking for and worth dying for. Era mbakakasa kino ekintu nze ntalayo buli kimu era namwe mbasaba mutale afya kubanga tujja tutuukayo. Kamalirize baganda bange nga mbeebaza olw'obuntubulamu olw'empisa. Mubadde mulaba wiiki bbiri eziise tetufunyeeko kabenje n'akamu okugjako emmotoka ya poliisi, emmotoka za poliisi bbiri ezajja ne zitomera abantu nga tugenda e Busunju. Tetufunye kabenje konna kubanga mubadde muvuga bulungi nnyo. Mubadde mukuuma layini yammwe wadde emmotoka nnyingi piki nnyingi naye mukuuma layini yammwe. Mbasaba mukuume empisa ezo. N'abatulugunya basuwala bishuwa kado tutulugunya naye banoonya ensonga ekyababuze temubawa nsonga. Kagala kezigale nge batunuddemu bo banyige bunyezi bagambe wadde tewali nsonga piga huyo kale. Neffe we need to be clear, we need to be safeguarded before the eyes of the people, before the law and before God. Amen. So bebaza nnyo olw'empisa, bebaza nnyo olw'obuntu bulamu, bebaza nnyo olw'okubeera n'ekisa naddala security team yaffe, abaana baffe abatambulira ku bodaboda, mwenna bafoot soldiers, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Nja kwebaza abo abakuumye abantu, nakibagambako nti omuntu gw'olaba ku kkubo oyo muwala akyamuse n'afiriminga ebyo ebintu n'abiteeka ku akawunti ye, atupushingira nnyo struggle yaffe. Eyo essimu eringa emmundu mweno fight, tuli mu lutalo lwokuba olutalo lwaffe luli non-violent. Era eyo essimu gy'olaba mweno digital era, eyo essimu eringa mmundu. Nabagamba mufube nnyo okukuumagana n'okusigira ddala okuuma abantu abajja okutuwagira. Gavumenti ya Museveni ng'ekozesa Christopher Damulira bagenda mu ghetto, tebanoonyayo bali talented nga siwine na lukalala, oyo ghetto youth nga nze wano, naye tebaagala yaabo, baagala babbi, baagala baziba misango bajje batuzeeko emisango. Nabagamba temubakkiriza, temubawa chance kutulugunya bantu baffe, njagala bazye basange ate ffe nga tuli era omuntu yenna alina ajja okubba essimu ku mulwanyi waffe. Ffe buli muntu yenna gutwa bakozesa essimu okupushinga struggle yaffe, oyo mulwanyi, era essimu tukirabanga emmundu. Era baganda bange, omuntu yenna alina abbako omuntu essimu nga tuli mu struggle, ne mumulaba mumuyise nga bbye emmundu. Kukitule kyabulabe nnyo omuntu okujja okuza emisango muffe, okujja okubba muffe, struggle yaffe teriimu babbi. Number one duty y'abantu bonna ba freedom fighters kubeera discipline. Kati omuntu ajja n'atukolamu indiscipline, mumulage nti si munnaffe, bwe mumala mumukwase poliisi, ne mukola ki? Ngamba waggulu njagala okwebaza bonna abatusapootinze. Yes, mumekinga sure obubbi tebutuyingira mu butono, si bungi. Temukkiriza babbi tuyingiramu, era nammwe ababbi abali eyo mbalabula nti bino tulwanirira mmwe, ate bino bya ddala. Tulwanyisa omulabe waffe n'abo abeefula abamu ku ffe bakozesa. So temukola ki? Njagala okwebaza abatuwagidde, abatubuujiridde, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Bali mwezi oyankubye akaama, tetukyetagayo ku ssente. Mulaba batuyise ewala, ewantu we twandibogedde eddakiika 2 ne tuvugirawo essaawa 2, essaawa 3. Fenno okwana eyo waliyo abantu ate basinga okunyigirizibwa. Kitegeeza nti amafuta tukozesa mangi. Era nnyo nze njogera ebigambo bannange, kitegeeza nti n'emmere nnyingi. So baganda bange, ekyamazima tukyetaagayo ku buyambi, temulekerawo okuyambako, tugende maaso nga mutuwagira, tulwane luno olutalo tumaleko. Twabagamba era tuddamu bagamba nti tetulina kyetufiirwa okugjako enjegere zituli ku mikono ne ku bigere. Tugendagenda mu maaso nga tulwana tuwangule. Bakakasa nti tugenda kuwangula. Bino gye binaggweera, buli kimu kijja kuba kiteredde. Era mwe munalaba nga buli kimu tekinaterera nga mumanya tebinaggwa. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala mu ngeri enjawulo. Kannebaze era recognizing Father Kizito agudde mukono. Webale nnyo, webalire ddala. People power! Power, power! People power! Power, power! People power! Everywhere! NUP! NUP! Everywhere!
Alright, so Tuli ku Ghetto TV erinnya Buganda Ronald Mugenyi okuweereza buli kimu. Manifesto eyogerwako ne His Excellency Kyagulanyi n'abakulembeze abanjawulo bakuwadde abaana bato olunaku olwaleero abakulaze biki ebituufu byolina okukola oba biki ebiri mu manifesto. Tugenda maaso n'okuweereza kampeyini zino zonna nga bwe ziri ewatali kuzza mukolo. N'olw'ensonga eyo gwe togwamu maanyi, genda maaso n'okubeera nga ku Ghetto TV. Twagala okwebaza abo bonna abavujjirizi abavuddeyo ne mutuvujjirira. Njagala okwebaza abavujjirizi abavuddeyo ne batuvujjirira mu ngeri ez'enjawulo. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala emirimu gyonna gye mukoze, ate era n'ababasheyalinga abalayikinga bongerayo enjiri eno. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala, mukkirize mbasiibule naye nga bwetyo leero press conference bwebadde ate era bwetyo bwedde.